It always feels really awkward when the very beginning of the broadcast is me just like chewing the rest of my food and then figuring out how to turn it on. Reload page for broadcast. It's time. And then tell me when you can hear me. Anybody can hear me. Do 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 do. Nobody yet. Nobody yet. Why doesn't anyone hear me? Two people can hear me. Hello, everybody. Now, I have to apologize for today's early post times for Derby, etc., and so forth. But here's the thing. 9 months ago, February, so 9 months ago, my sister-in-law and I were like, hey, we should go to Coldplay, because that's the best, and we can get awesome dope tickets. Let's do that. And then I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh snap, that's week 6 Friday. I can't go to Coldplay, I have to call races. And about 3 hours later, I'm like, yeah, sometimes though I want to live my life. So tonight I have a hot date with Chris Martin and the rest of the Coldplay band. And you guys can just enjoy early race calls. I mean, it's not like we canceled them. It's just a little bit awkward having them in the middle of the day. Why? I don't know. We just don't normally do that. So yeah, definitely need Coldplay today after a very, very bad day. And I hope that you guys enjoy tonight's MC, who is Nini, back for her second broadcast ever. That is Nini, not Nina. Don't get them confused. They're not quite the same. So we have all the races from Dubai today, and by all, I mean, no, we're not doing the Arabian race, and also a little bit of a confession time because of the whole Coldplay event. I was not planning on calling the Desert Marathon this year until, all the events of the last week, and now I'm very obviously clearly calling it. So, sorry, Arabian Desert Cup, you got left off the schedule so that I can go to Coldplay tonight. That's a true story. So here, without further ado, and to make way more sense than me, is Nini to lead you through the first race of the day, which is the Desert Turf Sprint.
Howdy, Simpsters. Can everybody hear me? Yes? Good, good, good. Are we all good? I hope so. Because now I'm going to start talking about this race, the Desert Turf Sprint. I really love this race. Obviously, the two big horses in here are Cinematic and See You Monday. It's one of those, Sunday silence, easy-goer type things, big showdown, except this isn't on dirt, and it's not on a route either, so that only made a little bit of sense. But without further ado, let's get to it. Number 1 is Cinematic himself. Cinematic is owned by Cindy Saunders, and he was bred by the steward. The bay colt is sired by Exterminate and out of the Lord Canola mare Music of the Heart. He was sold for $3 million as a yearling and is currently 12 for 14 lifetime with 2 second places and earnings of $1.8 million. So he's kind of a super horse because he has won grade 1s in every year he's raced except for this season, obviously, because this is only a second race this year. Highlight wins of his include all the big Australia races, all those fun ones, the White Diamond, Silver Slipper, Instant Millions, before he finished second in the Stewards Cup Turf Dash as a 2-year-old behind Make This About Me, and that was a pretty big upset. After that, he had a really smooth sailing 3-year-old campaign where he stayed down in Australia, won 3 more grade 1s, before going on to win the Grade 1 Nakayama Sprinter Stakes before his big season-end debut in the Tokyo Sprint Championship, a Grade 1 event where he won by a length with an 88 speed figure. Most recently, he finished second behind the big monster See You Monday in the Desert Turf Prep 3 weeks ago. He was second by 2.5 lengths that day, but he looks to turn the tables today, and I really think he can do it. Number 2 is Made of Flint. Made of Flint is owned by Pam Mayer and bred by the steward. This 5-year-old chestnut stallion was sold for only $3,000 as a yearling on an underbid. He's sired by Time Lord and is out of the As to War mare Made of Steel. 8 for 21 lifetime with earnings of just under $1 million. This guy is no stranger to the big stage. He was a Grade 1 winner at 2, where he won the Los Campeones Juvenile Sprint before he struggled a little bit at 3. He did find his stride late last season where he won the Grade 1 Prix de la Goldacova in France by a length and a quarter with an 89, and followed it up with another Grade 1 win in the Prix Longchamp by a length and 3/4 over Gunn Recession with an 86 week 14. He wasn't able to win his seasonal bow down in the runaway stakes, but he came back and won the Limerick Cup 3 weeks ago by a length and a quarter over Sword in the Stone. So he is coming into this race in arguably the best form of his entire life. Number 3 is Baseball Glove. This guy is owned by Richard Breedlove and was bred by Lee Cara. He's a bay colt sired by the fantastic stallion, the Black Glove. Out of the Adjust the Sound mare, Correct the Sound. 7 for 15 lifetime with earnings of over $370,000 in his career. These are kind of deep waters for him, even though he did win a grade 2 at 2 years old, and at the moment that is the highest race that he has ever won. He's won a couple of nice little stakes races and was consistent in those including the Turkish Dash Stakes, the Pacific Sprint Trial, and the Divine Park Stakes. Most recently, he's coming off of a 2-week layoff in Africa, which was the Impala Sprint Stakes, and he finished 6th in that race, so he's not exactly coming into this race off of a huge win, anything, but he has come off of a more dismal performance before when he won the Pacific Sprint Trial after finishing 8th in the Lantau Cup handicap, so it's not unfeasible that he could bounce back here. Number 4 is the big guy himself. This is See You Monday. He's owned by Ronnie D and bred by the Steward. This legendary turf sprinter has earnings of only $1.2 million, which is kind of surprising to me, considering he's already a 5-year-old. He's sired by Sepia Tint and is out of the awesome Reach for the Moon mare, See You Bye. He needs a no introduction, 18 for 20 lifetime, with only 2 second-place finishes on his otherwise perfect record. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I totally got the earnings and the purchase price mixed up. Whoops, bad me. He's earned $3.4 million in his career and was sold for $1.2 million. Bad Nini. Anyway, this guy is awesome. He was super duper undefeated. He won the Stewards Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint as a 2-year-old and racked off a bunch of other of those fun wins until he ran into his nemesis, Charles the Great. He ran into Charles the Great in the Desert Turf Sprint this race last year, and lost by a nose, and that was his first defeat ever. He went back on his merry way, winning the Silver Stored Stakes after that, going into the Stewards Cup, still the heavy favorite despite Charles the Great's presence, and Charles the Great beat him again. He comes into this race looking for vengeance, even though Charles the Great isn't here, but still looking to redeem himself, and it looks like he can do that today. The only thing standing in his way is Cinematic, and we will see how that big matchup ends up. Number 5 is Phaedrus. He is owned by James Burns and bred by the Steward. Sold for $3.3 million as a yearling. He's by Reckoner and out of the fantastic Adjust the Sound mare, Closet Monster, who was a very fantastic race mare in her own right. 7 for 13 lifetime with earnings of $472,000 to his name. It took him until week 8 of his 2-year-old year to break his maiden, which probably was a little bit disappointing considering his purchase price. He won some lower level stakes throughout his career before he picked it up with a grade 2 win in the Yakima Crown and followed it up with another grade 2 victory in the Singapore Gold Cup, and those 2 races came in week 6 and week 8 of last year. He went into the Stewards Cup a little bit of a long shot, but he was able to finish 4th behind Charles the Great, See You Monday, and Black Moon Rising. This year, he made his debut in week 2 in the Rodeo Stakes down in Texas, the best state. Not really. I still like that state. He ran a 88 in that race, so he's coming into this off of very, very good form, and it wouldn't surprise me to have him sneak into the try or something. I think this horse is really sneaky good, and if he runs very, very well, I wouldn't be surprised. Number 6 is Black Moon Omen, a homebred for Gigi Go Faster. This black colt is another son of the Black Glove and is out of the Reach for the Moon mare, Strange Mood. 4 for 14 lifetime with earnings of $487,500 to his name. He broke his maiden as a 2-year-old in his first start, and then he kind of didn't perform up to par there until he finished 5th in the Stewards Cup Turf Dash. He came back at 3 and was able to rebound a little bit, winning the Head for the Hill Stakes week 6 of last year, and then not winning again until week 14 of the same year in the Grade 3 Skylar Stakes. Even though he was a little bit inconsistent, he was able to get up for 3rd in the Stewards Cup, 6 lengths behind See You Monday and Charles the Great. So he is very classy. He comes off of this race off of a career-high 91 speed figure when he won the Color Scheme Dash week 3 of this year in Kansas. And that is the very short but very high-quality field for this Desert Turf Sprint race. Here is the Steward. Just kidding. The Steward is doing her thing, so I'm going to talk a little bit more. As far as the whole Cinematic and See You Monday deal going on here. I kind of think Cinematic is going to turn the turns. I don't know. It's just a really big gut feeling that I have. See You Monday coming in here looking for redemption off of not winning the two big major turf sprint races last year. I have a gut feeling he's going to lose this one. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sure Ronnie D is hoping I'm wrong, but I really think that Cinematic is going to pull this off. If I had to pick a 1, 2, 3 in this race, it would be Cinematic over See You Monday, with the 5-horse Phaedrus sneaking into the try for third. I'm sure James Burns would be happy with that, considering his past and the purchase price that this horse came. Who do you guys think is going to win this one? Any strong opinions in here? No strong opinions? Okay, I suppose. Well, all right, and we're back to the steward for the call and some other words.
And some other words. Okay, I keep adjusting the volume. Whoops, and muting myself. I keep adjusting the volume between us because usually that's the right thing to do. So let me know if you can hear me, if you can't hear me. Right now it's blasting in my ears, so Nini, if you say words, it'll like really hurt, so don't say words. I'd appreciate that. Okay, so anyway, first race of the day, as you know, turf sprint, and that's in 4 minutes, and then after that we do them pretty quick, like I think it's 10 minutes between every race. Yeah, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and then at the end we get back to 15, and then 20 before the Derby. Speaking of the Derby, how weird is it that we only have a field of 15 this year? I cannot remember the last time a sim derby or dirty didn't have 20 horses in it. And some of the horses that didn't run I find a little bit weird. There's a horse named St. Nicholas Day who actually won what's our Wood Memorial and isn't running in the Derby. What? That's weird. You guys are like, you're seriously already talking about the Derby. And it's time for the turf sprint. Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, I just think Nini's analysis is spot on. Is Cinematic going to be the one to turn the tables on See You Monday, or is See You Monday like just far superior? Sometimes I think that See You Monday's speed figures are starting to go down as he's aging, which you would expect, and then he just randomly busts out a 92 in his 5-year-old debut, so they really aren't going down at all. And I'll never forget Ronnie D getting this horse, and he had a note that said, "This horse is going to change your life." Well, I don't know if he's changed Ronnie's life. Ronnie, you can be the one that answers that, but he's been great. And in the this week's Edge, I do believe I call him the greatest of all time or something like that. Or at least imply it. Doesn't really matter what he does from here. Is there anyone else who can upset? Phaedrus. Basically, these are all the horses that Nini was just talking about. But I got 2 more minutes to kill. So make sure you bet, because keep in mind, all the betting is going to be closed early. Possibly even right now, if this race is in the pick 6. Good job, me, for remembering that. Pick 6. Doop, 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 doop. It's not in pick 6. What about the daily pick? Hey, we have a pick 4. How's that going, guys? Not in the pick 4. Daily double? Not in the daily double. Okay, you have more time. But not that much more, so don't get excited. Tim Matthews, still making me laugh. Like 8 years after I met him. Alright, let's get the show on the road, because I'm ready for racing, and if it's 1:14 and you're not here and the race is at 1:15, you're probably not coming. So, the betting pool in this race is going to close at $20,400. I need a new button for that, because the button I have is really hard to get to. Let's put that on the list. One small thing. M needs a button. Field of 6, going 6 furlongs on the grass. And I even have the chart pulled up and everything. What a champ. They're off in the desert turf sprint. See You Monday was away well. Good start for Cinematic, and Maid of Flint was one step slow, so it is See You Monday going out to the lead. Baseball Glove will chase him. Cinematic and Phaedrus, then Maid of Flint, and Black Moon Omen is content to trail at the back of the pack as they go strumming up to the far turn. Half a mile left to go, and it is See You Monday. He's leading by a half length. Baseball Glove being a bit annoying and dogging him. 2 lengths back to Cinematic, sitting happily in third. Then we drop back to Phaedrus in fourth. Maid of Flint fifth, and Black Moon Omen is still the trailer. They're about a half dozen lengths from front to back. So they're coming to the top of the stretch now, and See You Monday, he has the lead by a length. It's Cinematic making the move when Baseball Glove spit the bit. Phaedrus trying to get involved. Not much today from Maid of Flint. So they've got an eighth of a mile left to go. See You Monday, but here comes Cinematic rolling down the center of the track. I don't even know if See You Monday's seen him. It's See You Monday, Cinematic, See You Monday on the rail, Cinematic outside. They're 5 lengths clear, and Cinematic rolls right on by in the lane. Cinematic gets up to win the Desert Turf Sprint over See You Monday. Phaedrus was 5 lengths back third, then Maid of Flint and Baseball Glove. The official winner is Cinematic. He's a 4-year-old bay colt by Exterminate, out of Music of the Heart by Lord Kenaloa. He was bred by the steward and is owned by Cindy Saunders. This is probably the biggest win of her career. Would we say that? Oh, she did win the filly and mare sprint like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So up there. It's up there. I haven't looked at these charts like I should. So I'm just happily going along with the race with See You Monday way in front. And then I kind of realized that he doesn't hold on, and I had to kind of change my tone pretty quickly there. But, yep. Maybe look at the charts in advance. Good plan. And, yeah, Nini nailing the try. That was sick. All right, next up we have the Dubai Millennium Mile. And this is, like, the race that people have been talking about on the forum. Such a good race, so I can't wait to hear the preview for this one.
All right, Simsters, let's get into it. The race is in less than 10 minutes, so let's just start it up. Number 1 in the Dubai Millennium Mile is the filly Paramore. She is a homebred for Fana Arcadia, sired by Rillian, and is out of Fana's trademark mare, the Bright Heart mare, My Heart of Hearts. She is 7 for 11 lifetime with earnings of $620,000 in her career. As a 2-year-old, she finished second in the test for My Heart Stakes before going to win the Premio Hermana. Before starting her 3-year-old campaign, she reeled off wins in the French 2000 Guineas, Spanish 2000 Guineas, and the Grade 1 Palace of the Saint Stakes, beating Heel Not Hurt in that race, one of her arch rivals. After that, she rolled home in the Kentucky Crown Ladies Mile before giving the boys a try in the Stewards Cup Turf Mile. She was only able to finish 5th in that race, but she was a 3-year-old filly going up against colts in arguably one of the hardest races to win as a 3-year-old. In the sim, I only believe a handful of 3-year-olds, colt or filly, have won the Stewards Cup Turf Mile. Regardless, after that, she came into a Grade 1 race, the Date with Destiny Mile, as her 4-year-old debut, where she won by 2 lengths, demolishing the field in a wire-to-wire performance with an 87 speed figure. I really like this filly in this race, but the question is, will the rail impede her? Moving on, number 2 is Send Your Regards. Send Your Regards is owned by the Turf Mile aficionado Sten Reno Hawkinson and is bred by the steward. Purchased for $4 million as a yearling, he's by Old Dan, a special horse in Sten's heart, and is out of the Legionnaire mare, Tactical Regard. 8 for 13 lifetime with earnings of just under $1 million. He won a Grade 1 as a 2-year-old before finishing 5th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile Turf. After that, he reeled off win in the Prix de Mont Saint Michel Stakes, Week 8 of last year, before following up with a 3rd place finish in the Palace of the Saint Stakes behind Paramore and Heel Not Hurt. He then won the Caulfield Derby at Grade 1 and followed it up with a win in the Grade 1 Dortmund Stakes, and those were in Australia and Great Britain, before going on to run 3rd in the Stewards Cup Turf Mile behind Dark Shadows and his stablemate, who's also in this race, and Be a Doctor. After that, he came into year 48 flying, winning the ungraded Clásico Serenano de Baro Stakes in Colombia with an 88 speed figure coming from off the pace to demolish the field by 3 lengths. He's coming into this race in very good form, and I know Sten is hungry for this win. Number 3 is Sir Isaac Newton. He's owned by Regina Moore and is bred by the steward. This 5-year-old was purchased for $4.5 million as a yearling and is sired by a declaration of war out of the Eohippus mare, This Woman's Work. 8 for 18 lifetime with earnings of just over $900,000. He's reeled off 3 straight wins in the Greymouth Gold Cup, the Kapuki Guinness, and the Grade 2 Australian Mile with an 86 speed figure, 87 speed figure, 89 speed figure, respectively. Before that, he was a little bit inconsistent, but he's arguably coming into this race in the best form of his life, and I feel like I'm saying that after every horse in this race, but it's true. That's why it's such a good race. So he's hoping to get the win as a 5-year-old. He's one of the older horses in the field, hoping to beat his elders and show them who's really the boss here. Number 4 is another filly, Stars Themselves. She's owned by Rebecca Rose Hepburn and was bred by the steward. The black filly was purchased for $6.5 million as a yearling. That is a lot of money, and she is sired by Good Omen out of the Blessed Wolf mare, River Song. 10 for 11 lifetime, she's only lost 1 race and has earned $2.1 million to her name so far. She's reeled off tons of straight victories so far and is coming into this race off of huge wins in the Pajama Party Stakes Week 3 down in Kentucky, and her career highlight victory, the Stewart's Cup Filly and Mare Turf Mile, where she beat Spin to the Stars and Front Page Star. She's taking on the Boyce for what I believe is the first time in her career so far, and she has to be one of the favorites in this race, judging by her impressive record and those crazy high speed figures. Her past 3 speed figures have been an 89 in the Grade 1 Irish Matron, a 95 in the Stewart's Cup, and a 90 in the Pajama Stakes. Her prep was very quick, so she should be sharp, but it wasn't overwhelmingly quick, where she is probably not that drained, considering it was only a 90 speed figure. So yeah, this filly is crazy, and I think she's going to give the Colts a run for their money today. And if I had to pick a horse to win this race, it would probably be her. Number 5 is Quiet Sovereign. Quiet Sovereign is owned by Glenn Larson and bred by the steward. A dark bay colt, he was sold as a 2-year-old for $3 million. He's sired by Old Majesty and is out of the 7 Keys mare, Tranquility. 3 for 11 lifetime with earnings of just under $300,000 in his career. He's swimming in deep waters here. The highlights of his career were last year in Week 7 with a Grade 2 victory in the Wise Dan Stakes by 2 3/4 lengths, and most recently he won the Grade 3 Arcade Stakes wire to wire in Week 2 of this year in California. He's in deep waters here, but stranger things have happened, and Glenn Larson is looking to spring the upset on this very talented field with this very well-bred son of Old Majesty. Number 6 is And Be a Doctor. And Be a Doctor is owned by Sten Reno Hawkinson and is bred by the steward. He's a 5-year-old black stallion, and was sold for $2 million as a yearling. He is sired by Run You Clever Boy out of River Song, and this whole naming scheme here makes me really, really happy. Shout out to the steward for the Doctor Who names. He's 9 for 18 lifetime with earnings of $1.7 million. He's coming off of that second place finish in the Stewart's Cup Turf Mile 2 back, where he finished a neck behind Dark Shadows. He opened up this year with a victory in the Grade 3 Pre-Fleet Admiral with a 91 speed figure, so he's coming into this race off of a very sharp race. Before that, some highlights of his career included winning the Born to Be a Hero Stakes and the Collingwood Stakes before finishing 3rd in the Doncaster Trophy and in the 2nd in the Southern California Mile. Both of those are behind Red Ferns, who breaks from the outside today. Number 7 is Heel Not Hurt. Heel Not Hurt is owned by Rocky Raya and is bred by the steward. This bay colt is 4 years old and was sold for $3 million as a yearling, and he's sired by Do No Harm and is also out of This Woman's Work by Ia Hippus. He's 7 for 12 lifetime with earnings of just under $1 million in his career. He comes out into this race off of a 2nd place finish behind Red Ferns in the Grade 2 Sandcastle Stakes. He was 7th in the Stewart's Cup, but is a triple Grade 1 winner before that with wins in the English 2000 Guineas, Irish 2000 Guineas, and the Grade 1 Prix Benjamin Franklin. This guy has been pretty unlucky, but he is super talented, looking to give Rocky a breakout win here. Number 8 is Steel Slayer. This gray stallion is owned by Laura Ferguson and bred by the steward. He was sold for $4.75 million as a yearling and is sired by Shatterdome and is out of the worldwide fame mare the world over. He's coming off of a Grade 1 win in the Monarchy Mile Week 4 this year, and before that he got 4th in the Stewart's Cup Turf Mile behind the aforementioned And Be a Doctor and Send Your Regards. He nailed off 3 wins after that, and he is obviously a very classy horse, and this field is just so stacked from top to bottom, so we'll see how he does against some familiar faces today. Number 9 is Purry. This guy is owned by Iggy Timecheck and is bred by Fana Arcadia. He's sired by Mickey and is out of the Ragdoll Purring, and this guy has only earned $23,000 in his career and is 2 for 9 lifetime. Nothing too much to say about this guy other than he started off his career with 2 straight wins and a maiden and a non-winner to 3 lifetime. He may be a little in over his head here, but I don't know. Crazy things have happened. You never know. Number 10 is Red Ferns, owned by Tammy Stewicki and bred by the Steward. So for $2 million as a yearling, he's sired by Old Dan and is out of the Star Signs mare, Westward Sunset. 12 for 16 lifetime with earnings of $2.5 million in his career. He's coming into this race off a win in the Grade 2 Sandcastle Stakes. Before that, he finished second in the Reboat Stakes and he had back-to-back Grade 1 wins last year in week 10 and 13 in the Doncaster Trophy and Southern California Mile. And that's the field for the Dubai Millennium Mile.
Thanks, Nini. And guess what? You were right on time. You were like watching the clock, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's post time. $46,100 in the betting pool for this 1 mile contest. They're going a mile. Sorry, I had to. On the grass. Are our little graphics not working? Okay, they just weren't working for me. Yeah, this is a race where things like post position will definitely play a part because you've got the filly on the rail, Send Your Regards right in beside her, Red Ferns parked way on the outside. So many multimillionaires in this field. Pretty much this race is the bomb. So, yeah, that's the Oaks. That's not going to do me any good right now. But it'd be funny if I just called the wrong race. Not for me. They're off in the Dubai Millennium Mile, and it was an ugly start as Stars themselves stumbled, and so too did Steel Slayer and Be a Doctor had to take up off of them. So 3 bad breaks here as the filly Paramore flashes speed from the rail, then Quiet Sovereign. He'll Not Hurt and Puree. Steel Slayer, Stars themselves after the bad break, and Be a Doctor, Send Your Regards, Red Ferns, and Sir Isaac Newton is the early trailer as they turn up the backstretch for that long run down to the far turn. And it is Paramore, and she is uncontested out here, leading by 3 lengths. And under a hold, Quiet Sovereign is in second, then He'll Not Hurt. Puree up fourth with Steel Slayer fifth, then comes Stars themselves, and Be a Doctor, Send Your Regards, Red Ferns, and 5 lengths back to Sir Isaac Newton. No change in order yet. It is still Paramore, Quiet Sovereign's getting tired, and He'll Not Hurt. Here comes Send Your Regards making a move around the turn. Red Ferns from well back. Steel Slayer not doing enough, and Stars themselves. They're coming to the top of the lane now, and Paramore's all out. She's going to have to hold off Send Your Regards, who's closing like a freight train. Red Ferns there too. He'll Not Hurt trying to stay involved, then Steel Slayer. Send Your Regards is up alongside Paramore. Red Ferns flashing speed, but it's going to be Send Your Regards who has put Paramore away, and Send Your Regards is going to win by a length. Paramore second, Red Ferns third, then He'll Not Hurt, Steel Slayer, Quiet Sovereign, and Stars themselves was nowhere today. The official winner is Send Your Regards. He's a 4-year-old chestnut colt by Old Dan out of Tactical Regard by Legionnaire. He was bred by the Steward and is owned by Sten Reno Hawkinson. This is his 9th win in 14 starts, and he is finally a millionaire. 8 minutes to post for the Desert Duty Free, so without further ado, here is much more Nini and much less me.
All right, next up is the Desert Duty Free. They're going 1 mile and an eighth on the turf here, so let's get started. Pardon my wheezing noises. Number 1 is Rally. He is owned by Xander Zone and is bred by the Steward. The 6-year-old bay stallion was sold for $1.1 million as a 2-year-old and is started by Hunt out of the Quite the Feat mare limited edition. He's only 3 for 24 lifetime, but he's racked up almost $400,000 in his career. Recently, he finished 9th in the Grade 3 Gold Cup Classic in Brazil before he got 2nd in the Maryland Sweepstakes Turf and 5th in the Hall of Fame Stakes before that. This guy has no recent wins on his resume. The closest he's been in his last 4 or 5 starts was a 2nd place in that aforementioned Maryland Sweepstakes, so he's going to have to really rise up to the challenge today. Number 2 is I See My Way Home. I See My Way Home is a gray stallion, 6 years old, owned by Laura Ferguson and bred by the Steward. He was sold for $5.7 million as a 2-year-old and is sired by Anorak out of the Andre mare Racehorse Time. 10 for 22 lifetime with earnings of just over $1 million in his career, pardon. This guy comes into this race off of a second place finish in the Grade 3 Shazam Stakes behind Careful with Words, who won that race by a length of 3/4. Before that, he won the Mungu Handicap in Kenya by 1 length with an 88 speed figure earlier this year. Before that, he won the Gran Premio Castellano Stakes, week 14 in Spain, by 1.5 lengths with an 89 speed figure. Number 3 is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, owned by Danny Derby and is bred by the steward. This black colt was sold for $5.2 million as a 2-year-old and is sired by the Great Sydney and out of the Pegasus Feathers mare, Myth Rider. He's 5 for 10 lifetime with earnings of just over $500,000. He comes into this race off of a win in the Janus Jockey Club, a Grade 2, where he won wire to wire by a length and a half with an 88 speed figure. Before that, he was 4th in the Klampenborg Stakes behind Crown of Diamonds, Lord of Chaos, and Local Knowledge, before a dismal 12th place finish in the Grade 1 Arctic Triumph. Sad. Before that, he won the Grade 1 Blackwood Iron Classic and the Grade 1 Cape Town Derby, so we know that this guy has some back class. Number 4 is Renegade Man. Renegade Man is owned by Xander Zone and is bred by Nora Jean. He is sired by Moon Shattering and is out of the tattered mare Els Baeta, which makes him a half-brother to multiple Grade 1 winner Bow Ties Are Cool, and I only know that because I owned Bow Ties Are Cool, so laughing for that. He is 4 for 8 lifetime with earnings of $150,000. He comes into this race off of a win in a classified allowance, and before that he won a non-winners of 3 lifetime before he finished 4th in the High Court Turf Classic. Number 5 is Seattle in Summer. This 6-year-old is owned by Regina Haggart and is bred by the steward. He's sired by Arc winner John and is out of the July mare Lost in Summer. 3 for 23 lifetime with earnings of $642,000 to his name. He comes into this race off of a 4th place finish in the Grade 1 Arcadia Marathon week 4, so he'll be cutting sharply back in distance from 1 3/4 to 1 1/8. So we will see how he likes that. Before that, he finished 2nd in the All-American Handicap, a Grade 3 event in Florida, and before that, he finished 2nd as well in the 1 1/8 Colorado Stakes, a Grade 3 event behind the Dark Baron, so he has found some level of success at this distance before, so the cutback shouldn't be of too much issue or worry. Number 6 is Bengal. Bengal is owned by Bradley Davis and is bred by the steward. This 5-year-old was purchased for $2.5 million as a 2-year-old and is sired by Richard Parker and out of the tattered mare Silent Winds. He's 10 for 15 lifetime with earnings of $1.9 million in his career. He comes off of this win with a victory in the Baton Rouge Stakes, a Grade 3 event in week 3 of this year, where he beat Simeon by a length of 3/4 and earned a 90 speed figure in the process. Before that, he could only manage the 6th place in the Stewards Cup Turf, where he was beat by King Michael in Quieter Time. Remember those guys? And before that, he was 3rd behind Nick of Time and Wesley in the Chicago Million. However, he did win his race before that, the Grade 1 La Oceanside Stakes, by a length and a quarter with an 89 speed figure, and it's important to note that that race was also 1 1/8. He was 2nd in this race last year, so he's coming back and looking for redemption, and I would have to think that this guy is either the favorite or one of the favorites based on his prior lifetime achievements. And number 7, breaking from the outside, is Let Me. Let Me is owned by Lucas Davenport and is bred by the steward. This black 4-year-old was sold for $3 million as a yearling and is sired by Gojira out of the Sydney mare, Just Me. 8 for 12 lifetime with earnings of $555,000 to his name. He's coming off of a win week 4 this year in the Grade 3 Pre-Consolation Prize, where he beat the Chayatil, I hope I totally butchered that, by a length and a quarter with an 87 speed figure. Before that, he had 2 prior wins in the Grade 3 Rainbow Bright Stakes and the Grade 3 Prix de Hugo Stakes, and he reeled off an 86 and an 88 speed figure in that. So Let Me is coming into this race on a roll, but he is going to be sharply cutting back in distance from 2 miles to 1 1/8 today, but he has won a graded stakes race at the 1 1/8 distance before, so I'm sure it will be of no difficulty for him. If I had to pick a try in this race, I see the Bradley Davis trainee Bengal coming in first, followed by Laura's horse, trying to look up his name, bad me, I can't remember. I See My Way Home in second, and I think Let Me is going to round out the try, and I totally didn't have time to give you my try for the last race, but you have been blessed with my great foresight this time around. And we are just about ready for the call of the race. Here is the steward.
This is the steward for the call of the race. Woohoo! And this race is the Desert Duty Free, which is called something else in real life now. but I think we should keep it the desert duty free because it's funny and we're rebels. This race is always a little bit weird because there are so many horses in the 1.5 mile race that could have gone in this race, and if they had, they would win this race easily. But instead, they go in the other one for reasons that I don't really understand, because aren't the purses like super similar, or are they not? Okay, so that one's 4 million, this one's 2 million, so I kind of get it. But also, like, this one's always perpetually easier to win. See, only 2 millionaires in here compared to the multi-millionaires in the mile race. So, I don't know, it's just weird. I do believe I have to turn off betting for this one. Rose, can you do like a really quick check for me? Probably not because it's post time. Okay, it's taking too long. I'm just going to close it just in case, because I'm pretty sure I have to. Alright, the betting pool for the desert duty free closes at $4,100. What? Y'all are fired. And I even saw someone posting the link. So, we're in a fight. They're off in the desert duty free, and Donald Trump bobbled at the start. But he is going to show speed because no one else wants to go for the lead, so Donald Trump, after the bad start, is rushed up. I'm sorry, this is pretty funny. Seattle in Summer is taken back second, then Renegade Man, Rally, Let Me, Bengal, and I See My Way Home is the early trailer. So it is Donald Trump taking them along at a good clip. He's in front by a length. Then comes Seattle in Summer, and they're stringing out behind that one. Renegade Man, Rally, Bengal, Let Me, and then I See My Way Home is the trailer. No change in order yet as they go down the backstretch. It is Donald Trump leading by a length. Then comes Seattle in Summer. 5 back to Renegade Man and Rally. Bengal has a neck in front of Let Me, and then I See My Way Home, and those two are starting to get rolling now as they come to the half-mile pole. Let Me and I See My Way Home are going to be making a move on Donald Trump, who's leading by a length and a half. Seattle in Summer second. Bengal is up a lot closer now. Bengal into third. Let Me and I See My Way Home. The closers are coming. The pace was fast. They're at the top of the stretch, and Donald Trump, he just can't hold on, and he spits the bit. The new leader is Bengal. Here comes Let Me and I See My Way Home, but Let Me, whoa, like he shot from a cannon. Let Me is rolling away from the field. Let Me by a length, now 2, now 3. Bengal and I See My Way Home close for second and third, but it was Let Me, the impressive winner. The official winner is Let Me. He's a 4-year-old black colt by Gojira out of Just Me by Sydney. He was bred by the steward and is owned by Lucas Davenport. And I wish he had a headshot. Excuse me. Hopefully I did not offend anyone with my Donald Trump race commentary, because I was just being silly and I'm ultra non-political, so it just kind of wrote itself when he went to the lead after the bad break. Anyway, next up we have the Desert Golden Sprint. This is a field of 8, and they're going 6 furlongs on the main track, and there's like 7 minutes to post time. We should go faster than this. Sorry, Nini, I'll shut up.
Okay, we're all ready for the Desert Golden Sprint. Number 1 is Challenge Met, and this guy is a gray gelding, unusual to see one of those around here most of the time, owned by Fern Thompson and bred by the steward. Whoa, was steward bred gelding? That's kind of crazy. He was bought for $1.6 million as a yearling and is sired by Challenge Accepted and is out of the Ouija mare She Always Speaks. He's 6 for 21 lifetime with earnings of $230,000 in his career. He comes into this race off of a 4th place finish in the Grade 1 Crater handicap behind Lock You Away and Lionel and Make the Headlines. Before that, he was 2nd in an allowance race and 5th in the Grade 2 Asian Sprint Trophy, and we have to go back to week 13 of last year to find his latest win, the Point of No Return Stakes in Japan. Number 2 is the awesome He Breathes Fire, owned by Xander Zone and bred by the steward. This gray stallion is by Happy Times Ahead and is out of the Ad Infinitum mare She Talks to Villains. This phenomenally bred horse is 16 for 22 lifetime with earnings of $3.2 million in his career. He comes into this race off of a victory in the Grade 2 Sandstorm Stakes here in the UAE 3 weeks ago, where he beat Inspired by a head. Before that, he was third in the Stewards Cup Sprint, and prior to that, he rolled off back-to-back Grade 1 wins in the Inspired Fox Stakes and the Lexington Sprint. He has to be one of the classiest horses in the field, and I know Xander Zone loves to win these races, so this guy definitely has to be one of the biggest threats in here today. Number 3 is California Stardom, owned by 440 Racing Barn and bred by the Steward. He has he was sold for $1.8 million as a yearling. I really can't talk today. I'm so sorry, people. He is starred by California Stars and is out of the DeLorean mare, Angels on High. 9 for 13 lifetime with earnings of $800,000 in his career so far. He's coming off of a victory in the Grade 3 General Washington Stakes in Maryland 3 weeks ago over Funny Pages and Runnin' Reb. He earned an 88 speed figure in that race, and prior to that, he was third in the Grade 1 Malibu Beach Stakes behind Known an Instant and Just Happy. Number 4 is Wilder and Free. Wilder and Free is owned by Michelle Calderoni and is bred by the Steward. This guy is 10 for 14 lifetime with $650,000 to his name. He's sired by Challenge Accepted and is out of the AP Sidewinder mare, Plenty Wilder. He's coming into this race off of a victory in the Grade 3 Southern Cross Stakes, but before that he finished a very out of character 13th place in the Stewards Cup Sprint. But before that he reeled off 3 back-to-back wins in the Grade 3 Crimson Stag Stakes, the Grade 2 Midnight Loot Stakes, and the Grade 2 Serena Sound Stakes. So if you just cross out and draw a line through that Stewards Cup race, then he looks super, super dangerous. And I'm sure that was just some random, I don't feel like doing the whole racing type thing today. So I think this guy is one of the sneakier threats in this race today. Number 5 is Not Far From Truth, owned by Dusty Clad and bred by the Steward. He is by Plenty Fierce out of the DeLorean mare Look Sideways. He was sold for $2.5 million as a yearling and is 3 for 10 lifetime with earnings of $80,000 in his career so far. He was second in the Desert World Cup Sprint Prep week 4, day 1 in Pakistan, where he finished behind Known an Instant and Not Far From Truth. And I'm so dyslexic right now. He was second to Known an Instant. I really can't talk right now. I'm so sorry. Before that, he was third in the Brandon Benson Memorial Stakes behind Street Justice and Dance Pro, and fourth in the Go Sapper Stakes. And the last race he did win was a non-winners of 3 lifetime race in week 13 of last year. Number 6 is the filly Inspired. Inspired is coming into this race off of a second place finish in the Sandstorm Stakes before that, she won the Stewards Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. This daughter of Challenge Accepted has earnings of over $1.7 million in her career so far, and she's out of the fantastic Super Filly Graces. This Steward-bred Brianna McKenzie mare figures to be one of the favorites, and she was sold for a whopping almost $12 million as a yearling. 9 for 13 lifetime. She's coming in here looking to be a major threat. It looks like to be between her and her nemesis He Breathes Fire, and if I had to pick one, it would have to be Inspired because Brianna McKenzie always manages to win these crazy sprint races with her crazy fillies. Number 7 is Rafiq, owned by Jonathan Fisher, homebred for him as well. He's sired by Look I Am Scary out of the After It Rains mare Midnight Gift. 11 for 21 lifetime with earnings of over $1 million in his career. He's coming into this race off of multiple off-the-board finishes. He finished 8th in the Southern Cross Stakes 2 weeks ago, and before that finished 11th in the El Rapido Handicap and 8th in the Stewards Cup Sprint. You have to go all the way back to the Southern Cross Stakes of last year to find his latest victory. He needs to rebound big time to his career best performance in order to do his best and make an impact today. And finally, we come to Known an Instant, owned by Pete Vellen, bred by the Steward, breaking from the outside. This guy was sold for $5.9 million as a 2-year-old and is sired by Vilify and is out of the Tyconic mare Instantly in Love. 12 for 13 lifetime with only 1 loss, that being a third. He's earned over $1 million to his career so far. He comes into this race off of a sprint prep in Pakistan, specifically for this race where he beat Not Far From Truth. Before that, he won the Grade 1 Malibu Beach Stakes, the Grade 3 Midwest Stakes, and the Grade 2 Norway Stakes. The only loss in his career was the 2-year-old championship as a 2-year-old, where he finished behind Love You Forever and Inspired. And that is the field for the Desert Golden Sprint.
So while I was calling the last race, I heard bang, bang, bang on my door, and I was like, what the heck? So when I turned it over to Nini, I went over to look, and there were 4 enormous packages from Amazon, like enormous. And I'm trying to think in my head, like, okay, well, what did I order? Like, I know I ordered some stuff, and the kids' birthday is coming up, and yeah, so I got the kids sleeping bags, because, long story, they need sleeping bags. And, you know, sleeping bags roll up pretty small, especially when they're kid-sized. Yeah, so there was one enormous box for each of the sleeping bags that weighed like 0.02 ounces or whatever. And then in one of the other ones, I opened it. I mean, these boxes are huge. They're like huge boxes. There was a bareback pad for the horse. I don't know what else is in there. It looks like it's just a bareback pad in a giant box. That's it. Anyway, someone packaging failed, and I'm sure the driver really appreciated delivering that to my house. Alright, yeah, so it's time for the sprinty race, and this is a really, really good, evenly matched field. I think everybody did a really good job getting their horses here in good form, and I'm quite happy with this race. I like the filly taking a shot, and this isn't the race that we're on, but I'm almost there. There we go. And of course you have the perpetual, I feel like, perpetual rivalry between the He Breathes Fire, California Stardom, Rafik, and a No in an Instant, so yeah. It's post time. Betting pool closes. I have a feeling I'm not going to like it. At $11,200. Aloretta's doing a good job linking you. You guys are not doing a good job answering. They're off in the Desert Golden Sprint. A bad start for No in an Instant, who stumbled. Inspired had to take up 2, but it is Wilder and Free going out, and then He Breathes Fire, the filly Inspired, and No in an Instant after the bad break, then California Stardom. Those 5 kick away from Rafik, then Not Far from the Truth, and Challenge Met is the early trailer, and they are absolutely rolling out here, led by Wilder and Free. He Breathes Fire is breathing fire down that one's neck, then the filly Inspired. No in an Instant is 1 length back, California Stardom and Rafik. Challenge Met, Not Far from the Truth, has dropped back last. They have 3 furlongs to run, and here comes No in an Instant to challenge Wilder and Free. He takes over the lead. He Breathes Fire is still there too, then Inspired. California Stardom trying to get involved. They're coming down the stretch, and it is No in an Instant, and he's kicking away from them. No in an Instant, he's 2 in front, now 3. California Stardom up in a second, Wilder and Free. He Breathes Fire and the filly Inspired, but it is No in an Instant, a 3 and some length winner of the Desert Golden Sprint. California Stardom second, Wilder and Free third, then He Breathes Fire and Inspired. The official winner is No in an Instant. He's a 4-year-old chestnut colt by Vilify out of Instantly in Love by Tyconic. He is owned by Pete Vella and was bred by the Steward, and this is his 13th win in 14 starts. This is the race that finally proved this horse to me. Like, he's always been good, but winning as impressively as he did over this field, to me, very impressive. So, next up we have the Desert Mile, and I'm going to throw it back over to Nini.
All right, and Nini is going to try and get through the Desert Mile without stuttering, so challenge accepted. Here we go. Number 1 is King of the Suns. King of the Suns is owned by Brianna McKenzie and is bred by the Steward. He was sold as a 2-year-old for $2.5 million and is sired by Light of the Moon and out of the Just Victory mare, Rosalaire. 11 for 16 lifetime with earnings of $1.3 million to his name. He comes into this race off of a second-place finish in the Optimist Stakes Week 3. Before that, he was second in the Stewards Cup Dirt Mile behind And Are Happy. And before that, he won the Grade 2 Dirtway Fall Park Championship and the Grade 3 Lay Your Armor Down Stakes. So he clearly is a very, very classy horse and is trying to get a signature win here today. He was third in this race last year, by the way, so he is trying to come back and get his redemption. Number 2 is Stand. Stand, owned and bred by Pei Sun, sired by California Chrome, and is out of the Philosophy mare King and Lionheart. And if that mare is named after the song, then that is awesome. 7 for 11 lifetime with earnings of over $750,000 to his name. He comes into this race off of a win in the Grade 2 Fargo Stakes Week 3 in New York over Dream and Shades, where he earned an 86 speed figure for that race. Before that, he ran an uncharacteristic 8th in the Stewards Cup Dirt Mile, but if you just draw a line through that, you see 3 back-to-back awesome performances in the Native Dancer Stakes, the Grade 2 Perfect Million Stakes, and the Grade 2 Mojave Stakes. So this guy is trying to prove that his Stewards Cup Mile run was a complete fluke, and I think he could be really dangerous here today. Number 3 is Disaster Artist. Disaster Artist is owned by Tratsveer Peru and is bred by the Steward. The black colt was sold for $2.75 million as a yearling and is sired by the Pumpkin King out of the awesome War Daddy mare Chapel. 4 for 12 lifetime with earnings of just over $500,000. He's coming off of a 4th place finish in the Runaway Plate Week 3 in Canada. Before that, he was 3rd in the Stewards Cup Dirt Mile behind And Are Happy and King of the Suns, and 3rd in the Mojave Stakes behind Stand. We have to go back to week 11 of last year to find his most recent win in the Grade 2 Strongerable Stakes, where he beat Big Cheddar and Act Out. This guy trying to come in here and prove that he can beat the best of his generation. Can he do it today on one of the sport's biggest stages? Number 4 is Scissorhands. Scissorhands is owned by Todd Lucas and bred by the Steward. This 5-year-old black stallion was purchased for $1.5 million as a yearling and is sired by the Pumpkin King out of the Firefly mare River Tam. 13 for 19 lifetime with earnings of $1.8 million to his name. He comes off of a 3rd place finish in the Runaway Plate in Canada behind Gecko Natural 9. Before that, he was 7th in the Stewards Cup Dirt Mile, and that was also an out-of-character performance for him, as he won this race last year and finished 1st in 3 races back-to-back before the Stewards Cup, those being the Caspian Mile, the Grade 1 Rosita Cup, and the Grade 3 Frisco Kid Stakes. So Scissorhands comes into this race looking for the win again here, hoping to prove that that Stewards Cup race was totally just a random thing and trying to reestablish himself as one of the top dirt milers in the game. Number 5 is Dragon and Pegasus, owned by Mike Springer and bred by the Steward. This chestnut colt was sold for $1.8 million as a yearling and was sired by Cyberman and out of the Maelstrom mare Pegasus Song. 7 for 12 lifetime with earnings of just over $900,000 to his name. He comes off of a win in the Optimist Stakes Week 3, where he finished ahead of King of the Suns. He earned a speed figure for that effort, and before that he finished 5th in the Stewards Cup Dirt Mile. Before that he was 2nd in the Grade 2 Indiana Mile, and was 3rd in the Grade 1 Garden State Invitational Stakes. Number 6 is Gecko. Gecko is owned by Randall Johnson and was bred by Charles Bunbury. This 8-year-old gelding is sired by In the Trench and out of the original Tough Guy mare, Lila. 20 for 36 lifetime. He has earnings of over $1.2 million to his name. He comes off of a victory in the Runaway Plate, where he won that by a length over Natural 9 with an 87 speed figure. Before that, he won back-to-back races, the first of those being an allowance race, and he followed it up with a win in the Grade 3 Funny Side Mile, where he earned an 87 speed figure for that effort. Number 7 is one of the greatest named horses I have ever seen in this game, Dr. Hooves. Dr. Hooves is a homebred for Xander Zone and was sired by Uncle Mo and is out of the Bad and Black mare, American Black Ops. Only 3 for 13 lifetime, though. He has $175,000 to his name. He was 4th in the aforementioned Optimist Stakes, where so many of the other horses in this field have prepped, and before that he won a non-winners of 3 lifetime stakes, and prior to that race he finished 2nd in the Grade 3 Serpent Charmer Stakes in week 13 of last year. This guy, the odds look to be against him, but if I know anything, a really great named horse can just pull a great win out, and everybody is going to be so ecstatic. I'm just ecstatic that a horse with that name is racing in this race in the first place, even though he's up against it here. But as I've said so many times in the past, anything can happen. Number 8 is Watch the Mirror. Watch the Mirror is owned by Pete Vella and is bred by the Steward. This guy was sold for $2 million as a yearling and is sired by Because I'm out of the Just Victory mare, Rosalie. 5 for 10 lifetime with earnings of $350,000 to his name. He comes off of a 3rd place finish in an allowance race, and before that he won the New Mexico Classic before he was 2nd in the Strike Deadly Stakes. Moving on, the final horse rounding out the field is number 9, Cartographers. Cartographers is a homebred for Xander Zone. The 5-year-old chestnut stallion is sired by Liam's Map and is out of the Engross mare American Greeting. 10 for 20 lifetime with earnings of just under $1.5 million. This guy comes off of a 2nd place finish in an allowance race week 3 in the UAE this year. Before that, he won the Grade 1 Brooklyn Mile, though, so he just might have been short for that allowance stakes effort. Prior to that, he won the Big Money Stakes and the Grade 2 Miracle Mile. And that's the field for this very good Desert Mile.
Which is excellent because I just got dressed to leave for the concert, so that's good. Oh, apparently my friend called. I ignored that. So yes, it is 1 minute to post for the Desert Mile. No real standout in here. No like, oh, this horse is a superstar. But obviously with the defending champion in here. And a horse like Cartographers, who was so good as a 2-year-old. And I assume will retire at the end of this. Not at the end of this race, just at the end of this year. Anyway, I hope people bet. Or at least I hope people bet on the Derby and the World Cup and stuff. $20,000 in the pool, that's good. I'll take it. A very solid group of 9 here, ready to go in the Desert Mile. And they are off. Dragon and Pegasus was 1 step slow, but the rest were away well, and it is the defending champ, and that's Scissorhands, who goes out to the front end, chased by Disaster Artist and then King of the Suns. Gecko settles back 4th, Dragon and Pegasus, then Watch the Mirror, Stand, Cartographers, and Dr. Hooves is the early trailer. So it is Scissorhands and Disaster Artist, those two dueling early 3 lengths in front of King of the Suns. Then comes Gecko, Dragon and Pegasus, Watch the Mirror, and Stand. Here's Cartographers trying to make an early move up the backstretch, and Dr. Hooves is 3 lengths back last. Still Scissorhands and no change in order, he leads Disaster Artist by a length. King of the Suns is getting a little bit tired. He's passed by Gecko. Here comes Stan from the back of the pack. Watch the Mirror and Dragon and Pegasus. They're turning at the top of the stretch now, and it is still Scissorhands. Stan is making a good move on him. Disaster Artist is done, and here comes Gecko between horses. Gecko, the old gelding. It's Scissorhands still. Stan takes the lead from him, and here comes Gecko, and he's going to shock us all. It is Gecko to get up and win the Desert Mile. Gecko, an 8-year-old gelding for Randall Johnson. He wins over Stan, Scissorhands, Disaster Artist, and Cartographers. The official winner is Gecko. He's an 8-year-old bay gelding by In the Trench. I literally don't even know who that is. Out of Lila by Original Tough Guy. He was bred by Charles Bunbury and is owned by Randall Johnson. This is Gecko's 21st win in 37 starts. Don't you think Gecko's earned his headshot? Come on, Randall. Someone should give Gecko a headshot. Because this horse is the actual bomb. That was pretty exciting, guys. I really liked that. Next up, we have the Scott Island Memorial Desert Marathon. I didn't know we were at this race yet, and that was kind of hard to say. All I can say is that most of the people in this race wish that they all want to win. This is the race everyone wants to win this year. And this field is stacked. Easily the best field we've ever had in this race. So, to talk about them all, here is Nini.
Okay, so I only have 7 minutes to talk about this field, but I feel like I want to just say a quick thing about Scott before we start here, just that he was an amazing, awesome guy, and I'm really sad that we have this race, but I'm so happy that we have this race in his memory and that this is such an awesome field, and I know he's just looking down on us and being so happy for this as well right now. What a way to honor Mr. Awesome himself. So let's get to the field for this very emotionally charged Scott Island Memorial Desert Marathon. I'm legit almost tearing up right now, but let's get to it. Number 1 is Ridgewood. Ridgewood, his name is no stranger to all of us. He is a homebred for Eric Nalbone and is sired by Man of Mystery out of the awesome mare Corona. He is 7 for 11 lifetime with earnings of $2.2 million in his career. We know this guy. He looked like a superstar as a 2-year-old, winning the Stewards Cup Juvenile with a 97. He was a complete freak in that time. It looked like he was going to win the Derby. He didn't end up winning the Derby. He finished 7th in the Derby, 5th in the Baltimore Crown before he bounced back to win the Queen's Derby last year. He was 3rd behind Conqueror and Nowitzki in the Midsummer Classic, but he rounded out the year with a victory in Los Campeones. And now he's here at this marathon distance to try and win this very, very special race. Number 2 is Azel. Azel, owned by Rebecca Rose Hepburn, sired by Hold Above out of the URIM mare Just for Fun. 4 for 10 lifetime pardon with earnings of just about $320,000 in his career so far. He comes off of a 3rd place finish in the highly regarded stakes here week 3, and before that he won the World Cup Preparation Stakes by 2 lengths over Self Sword week 1. This horse has a lot of back classy stuff. He was a top Derby contender in his heyday, and I wish I could talk more about him, but there's still a lot of horses, and I only have 5 minutes. And number 3 is the filly St. Elmo's Fire, owned and bred by Tim Matthews. This filly, 4 years old, sired by Messiah out of the Voldemort mare Bibliomania. 5 for 12 lifetime with earnings of $886,000 in her career so far. She most recently won the Enlist the Saint Stakes, a Grade 3 event, week 4 of this year. She beat Almost Famous in that race, and before that she finished 2nd in the Grade 3 Wish Upon a Star Stakes, and this is our Stewards Cup Ladies Route winner, so she's coming in here looking for the boys, trying to prove that she is the best long-distance horse of either sex in the game. Number 4 is Kaiser Soze. Kaiser Soze, homebred for Laura Ferguson. He is sired by Rambling and out of the Keyboard Courage mare Inspiration. 10 for 18 lifetime with earnings of $2.1 million. This horse is so good, but I also feel like he's just been really unlucky throughout his career. To me, he was the Derby favorite. He had all the makings of a Derby horse as a 3-year-old. He fell to his knees at the start, and maybe if he hadn't fallen to his knees, he would have run down our eventual Triple Crown winner, Dragonfly, at the time. He had a bit of a tough time of it, but he came back, and he's most recently won the Long Island Gold Cup last year. But after that, he finished 7th in the Stewards Cup Classic. He's kind of looking for his signature breakout win. He's been looking for it. He's hungry for it, and this horse is just super good, and I hope he gets that win today. Number 5 is Fighting Spirit, owned by Ryan Whitehead and bred by the Steward. This black colt was sold for $2.5 million as a yearling, sired by Doomsday and out of the Flames mare Spirit. 8 for 11 lifetime with earnings of $612,000 to his name so far. He comes into this race off of a win in the Desert Marathon Prep. And before that, he won the Grade 1 Tricolor, Classico Tricolor Venezuela, the Grade 2 President Stakes, and the Grade 3 Venezuelan Jockey Club Stakes. This horse is really, really good. Number 6 is Cosmere. Cosmere, owned by Glenn Escobar, leased to him by Danny Derby. He is sired by Oncoming Storm and out of the Literature mare Miracle. 11 for 25 lifetime with earnings of just under $1 million in his career so far. He most recently won the Air Emirates Marathon Prep and the Arab Nations Gold Plate, coming off of those back-to-back wins at this long distance of 2 miles. Number 7, this is Aaron Burr. Aaron Burr, owned by Cesar Reyes and bred by Danny Derby. He is sired by Be Prepared and is out of the mare Songbird. Only 1 for 11 lifetime with earnings of $166,000 to his name. His most recent win isn't even on the past performance page, but this guy has competed in Grade 1 races before. He's finished on the board in a Grade 1, so he does have some class to him. Number 8 is The Flame Still Burns. The Flame Still Burns is owned by Brianna McKenzie, homebred for Brianna McKenzie as well, sired by Our Lions Reel and is out of the Other Man mare, The Other Flame. 5 for 11 lifetime with earnings of just under $800,000. He comes off of back-to-back second-place finishes in the Curlin Stakes and the highly regarded stakes. And before that, he won the Grade 2 Canadian Derby week 13 of last year. Number 9 is Encrypted Hello. Encrypted Hello is owned by Gigi Go Faster and bred by the Steward. Sold for $3 million as a 2-year-old. He's by a Derby winner Grant out of the Eastmere Pal. 6 for 11 lifetime, earnings of just over $1 million. He comes out of the Gallant Sox handicap with a win there where he beat his rival Deep Sleep. He finished 2nd to Deep Sleep in the Stewards Cup Marathon and was also 2nd behind Deep Sleep in the Long Island Classic, so he has that rival there. And what do you know? His rival Deep Sleep breaks from post position 10 right next to him. This guy, Deep Sleep, is owned by Brandon McNulty and bred by the Steward. He was sold for a whopping $7 million as a yearling. He's sired by Messiah out of the War Daddy mare Sleep to Dream. 6 for 13 lifetime, earnings of $1.9 million, almost to the $2 million mark. He finished 2nd behind Encrypted Hello last time. He won the marathon. He's a Belmont winner. This is such a good horse. He needs no introduction. He is a superb addition to this awesome star-studded field. And number 11 is Outlander. Outlander is owned by Danny Derby and bred by the steward. This horse, breaking from the outside, was sold for $5.8 million as a yearling and is sired by Be Prepare out of the R Lions real mare, Bayanlander. 4 for 11 lifetime with earnings of just over $400,000 lifetime. He looked to be a Derby horse when he broke his maiden, but he didn't quite live up to those aspirations. Needless to say, he's still a Grade 1 winner, and most recently, he finished second in the Hot Springs Handicap behind Dynamite, and before that, he won the Sim Appreciation Trophy week 1 of this year in Jamaica. And that is the field for this very sentimental Scott Island Memorial Desert Marathon. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Nini, and a big field here going to the post for the Scott Island Memorial. Yeah, that is never going to get easier to say. That is not easy. Um, I don't want to give anything away yet, but after the race, I'll tell you how I felt when I saw how this race goes, and just a really solid field here. There's clearly going to be a lot of horses that run off the board that are still good Grade 1 caliber horses, just because this is such a deep field. A lot of these could have been in the Desert World Cup. I know Kaiser Soze was originally. I know Ridgewood was originally. And yeah, really, really nice field. So the betting pool is going to close at $34,000. Very nice. Thank you. The pants are off. Oh, I wish I'd thought to say that. That would have been really good, Tim. I'm not clever, though. But I do hope that we're all enjoying a pantsless afternoon in honor of Scott. They're off. Deep Sleep was one step slow. Fighting Spirit as well, and Kaiser Soze too. But it's a long race, so no matter. Deep Sleep is rushed up to take the lead. Here's the filly St. Elmo's Fire and then Ridgewood. The Flame Still Burns and Encrypted Hello. Azel, Outlander, Aaron Burr, Fighting Spirit, then Kaiser Soze, and Cosmere is the early trailer. But we have a long way to go in this marathon. 2 laps around, and we've got about a lap and 3/4 left to go, with Deep Sleep leading them. St. Elmo's Fire is going to dog that one, then Ridgewood, and the Flame Still Burns. Encrypted Hello, Azel, Outlander, Aaron Burr, Fighting Spirit, Kaiser Soze, and Cosmere still trails, but they're only spread out about 6 lengths for the 11 of them. So it is Deep Sleep leading them to the half-mile pole for the first time. St. Elmo's Fire there too, and then Ridgewood and the Flame Still Burns. Those two are right together, 2 lengths to Encrypted Hello and Azel. Outlander, Aaron Burr, then Fighting Spirit, Kaiser Soze, and Cosmere quite content to sit at the back of the pack as they reach the top of the stretch for the first time. It is Deep Sleep leading by a length, has shook clear of St. Elmo's Fire, another length and a half to the Flame Still Burns. Then comes Ridgewood and Encrypted Hello. They're spreading out now, Azel, Outlander, and Fighting Spirit. Then Kaiser Soze and Aaron Burr. They're about a length apart each of them, so about a dozen lengths front to back. They've now only got 7 furlongs left to run, and Deep Sleep is still leading by a length. St. Elmo's Fire there too. The Flame Still Burns, and then Ridgewood, he's creeping up a little bit, and then Encrypted Hello. Azel, Outlander, and Fighting Spirit, then Kaiser Soze, Aaron Burr, and Cosmere is going to need to get going as they only have 5 furlongs left to run in the Scott Island Memorial, and it is Deep Sleep, but he's only got a half length on the closing Ridgewood. Here's the Flame Still Burns and St. Elmo's Fire still battling on. Fighting Spirit, Kaiser Soze, and Encrypted Hello. Azel, Outlander, they've reached the top of the stretch, and it is still Deep Sleep, but he is tiring. The Flame Still Burns and Ridgewood, those two kick on. Here's Fighting Spirit and Kaiser Soze down the center of the track. Encrypted Hello trying to get involved. Ridgewood and Fighting Spirit, the Flame Still Burns between them, and Kaiser Soze out widest. These 4 to the wire, and it's going to be very, very close. Ridgewood, Fighting Spirit, the Flame Still Burns, and Kaiser Soze. It's way too close to call between the 4 of them. They all hit the wire together. Deep Sleep was 5th, Encrypted Hello, St. Elmo's Fire, and Azel. Stewart's taking a very long look at this photo. After a very long look at the photo, the stewards have ruled, and I literally cried when I saw this. It is a double dead heat. The dead heat for first place between Ridgewood and Fighting Spirit, and the dead heat for third between the Flame Still Burns and Kaiser Soze. So we have a double dead heat. What are the odds of that? Like, he would love that. I'm going to cry again. So the official winner of this race is Ridgewood, one of the official winners, sorry. He's a 4-year-old chestnut colt by Man of Mystery out of Corona by Awake As I Am. He is a homebred for Eric Nalbone, and he is fancy with 8 wins and 12 starts. The other official winner is Fighting Spirit. That's right? I'm not getting confused. Yeah, Fighting Spirit. He's a 4-year-old black colt by Doomsday out of Spirit by Flames. He was bred by the steward and is owned by Ryan Whitehead. And next up, we have the Desert Turf Classic, $4 million on the line. And I'm going to go get some tissues, and Nene is going to take over.
Whoops, my microphone was off. Sorry, guys. I totally started talking but yeah. Anyway, while our hearts are settling down a bit there, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Desert Turf Classic. Number 1 is Cookie Monster, a homebred for Louise Bayou. This bay 4-year-old was sired by a King of Monsters and is out of the Opera Ghost mare Long Slow Kiss. 7 for 9 lifetime with earnings of just about over $400,000 to his name. He's coming into this race off of the best form of his life with back-to-back-to-back-to-back wins in the Grade 2 German Classic, the Grade 1 English St. Leger, the Grade 2 Swiss Grand Prix, and another prep. I know for a fact that Louise Bayou was waiting forever to name this horse Cookie Monster, and I'm really happy that she finally got that opportunity to run him in this big race today. Number 2 is Fireproof, owned by Laura Ferguson and bred by the steward. Sold for $7.6 million as a yearling. He was sired by Eonto and is out of the Pride of Atlantis mare, The Perfect Kiss. 6 for 10 lifetime with earnings of just over $2 million to his name. He's coming into this race off of a first-place finish in the Camelot Cup, and before that he was 3rd in the Stewards Cup Turf, 3rd in the Arc de Triomphe, and he won the Grade 1 Toronto International. So this guy, super classy, coming in here trying to win it all. Number 3 is Saitano Moon. Saitano Moon owned by Carol Hansen and bred by her as well. This black colt is sired by Saitano Diamond and is out of her favorite mare, the Pride of Atlantis mare, Moon of Atlantis. 6 for 11 lifetime with earnings of $2.3 million to his name. He most recently won the Danish Derby week 3, and I don't know why it's the Danish Derby if he's a 4-year-old, but that's kind of weird. But before that, he was 2nd in the English Champion Shakes and 2nd in the Arc de Triomphe. He's also the winner of the Grade 1 English Derby and the Grade 1 Lexington Bunbury and a bunch of other really good things. And this guy, I know Carol wants this more than anything. Let's see if he can do it. Number 4 is I Am Right Here. I Am Right Here, owned by Jerry Hardy and bred by the steward. This 5-year-old was sold for almost $8 million as a yearling, sired by Sydney and is out of the 1 in a million mare Shahira. 9 for 15 lifetime with earnings of just over $2 million. He comes into this off of back-to-back wins in the Japan Trophy and Grade 1 event and the Desert Gold Stakes here 2 weeks ago. He also is the winner of an array of other Grade 1 races, and I'd love to talk about it more, but I only have 2 more minutes to go through the rest of this field. But needless to say, this horse is a phenom. Number 5 is your reigning king of the turf route world, King Michael. King Michael is owned and bred by Mike Eaton and is sired by King of Monsters out of the Sydney mare Capital Income. He's 8 for 10 lifetime. Really needs no introduction. Stewards Cup Turf winner, Oceanside Derby winner, Virginia Turf Cup, Virginia Derby. He just won his most recent prep. This horse is awesome. He's coming in here trying to reaffirm his dominance over the division today. Number 6 is Yeti. Yeti is owned and bred by Susie Rydell. The 6-year-old gray stallion is sired by Monster out of the El Prado mare Winter Memories. 5 for 12 lifetime with earnings of $216,000 to his name. He's coming off of a 3rd place finish in the Gold Cup Classic, a Grade 3 from 3 weeks ago. Before that, he was the winner of the Grade 2 Lakeway Park Route in Maryland week 16 of last year. We finally get to our outside horse, Night March. Night March is owned by Kane Saracen, bred by him as well, sired by Kidison Black, and is out of the Deep Impact mare Gentle Donna. 5 for 10 lifetime, but he's never finished worse than second. He's earned over $1 million in his career so far. He comes off of victories in the Magic Carpet Stakes and the Grade 1 English Champion Stakes, and before that he was second behind Cookie Monster in the Grade 1 English St. Ledger. And that is the field for this very, very awesome Desert Turf Classic. Is M here? I don't know. But anyway, this is a super, super good field. They're all so good. I really, really like King Michael, but, you know, after they win so many of those good races in a row, that they're bound to come down at some point, and that Week 16, Week 6 double is so hard to pull off. So in this race, I'm going to go with the Carol Hansen horse, Satano Moon. I'm just going to go for it. I think he is super good, and I think he's going to win another big one for that family of his. His sister won the Arc. I'm fairly certain his sister won the Arc. I'm going to go look at that right now. No, she didn't win the Arc. She won the Stewards Cup Turf. Anyway, crazy race to win. I think Satana Moon is going to continue the family legacy of winning all of the big races. Louise Bayou likes Night March. And here's M. M is back.
Yeah, it turns out when you take a phone call in the middle of the broadcast, then you kind of forget that you're broadcasting. That's bad behavior. So it is post time for the Turf Classic, and this is like a really good race. Just so many nice horses in here. Again, small field, but that's okay. I almost just made this part of the Triple Crown Trail instead of closing the betting. This is why M needs a new button. But how do you have 4 multimillionaires and a millionaire in this field of 7? Like, that's just crazy. So, nice horses. They're going to go 1.5 miles on the grass. I might fudge this call a little bit because I'm kind of beat up, but we'll see how it goes. They're off in the Desert Turf Classic, and it was a good break for all except for Fireproof, who was quite slow from the start, and Cookie Monster bobbled too. It is Sotono Moon showing speed, joined by I Am Right Here, and those two are the only ones who want the lead, so they go out, with King Michael dropping back in third, and then Cookie Monster. Night March is fifth, Fireproof, and Yeti will take up the back of the pack as they come towards the top of the stretch for the first time. It is Sotono Moon leading by 1.5 lengths, and he's on a good hold. I Am Right Here second, and those two have cleared the rest by 5 lengths. Then come King Michael and Cookie Monster strumming right along, Night March and Fireproof, and then Yeti is 2 lengths off of that pair. So 1 mile left to go as they go under the wire, and it is Sotono Moon leading by 1 length. I Am Right Here, and those two have 8 lengths on the rest of the field. King Michael is the one who's third. Cookie Monster, looking quite blue today, is in fourth. He's got 3 lengths on Night March, then Fireproof, and Yeti has dropped out about 20 lengths behind the leaders. So it is Sotono Moon leading up the backstretch. I Am Right Here. He gets a little bit closer, and they have 9 on King Michael, then Cookie Monster. Night March starts to run on, and so too does Fireproof. Yeti is dropping even further back, so they've got 1/2 mile to go, and Sotono Moon, but he's kicked away. Sotono Moon's leading by 2 now. I Am Right Here trying to go with him, but not able. Here comes Night March up into third, and Fireproof. King Michael has dropped out, then Cookie Monster. They're at the top of the lane, and Sotono Moon, he's going to have to hold off Night March, though, and Fireproof. The closers are coming. I Am Right Here not doing enough. It is Sotono Moon, but Night March has his measure now, and Night March is going to get up right on the line. Night March by a head over Sotono Moon, Fireproof third, then I Am Right Here, and King Michael, and then Cookie Monster, who stopped for a snack. The official winner is Night March. He's a 4-year-old bay colt by Catassin Black out of Gentle Donna by Deep Impact. This is a homebred for Kane Saracen, and this is his 6th win in 11 starts. Sotono Moon was second, Fireproof was third, and the race was quite quick, 2:25 and 2. Next up we have our last race from the desert, and that is the Desert World Cup, a absolutely star-studded field of 7 going postward for $6 million. And to talk about all of them, because this race is awesome, here's Nini.
All right, here we go for the big one from the desert. $6 million here. And to kick it off, we have my favorite Derby winner of all time, the gelding Eastern West Side. He's a homebred for Mark Branch, sired by Taste of Shadows and out of the Midwest mare West by God. He's 14 for 31 lifetime with earnings of $3.6 million to his career. This guy is the winner of the Y48 Louisville Derby, and that was 4 years ago. He is a gelding, and that's why he's still around, and I love that he's still around. And this horse is super crazy. In one race, he'll run like a 70-something speed fear, and the next he'd come back with like a 100 or something, and that was crazy. But recently, he's been on a bit of a roll here. He finished second in the Sunny Sky Classic, 3 weeks ago, and before that, he rounded up back-to-back wins in the Grade 1 Japan Trophy Dirt over Sleepless Roads, and before that, he won the Grade 3 Sirius Stakes over Has to Know, who is also in this field. This guy gonna come in and trying to prove that he is still one of the top dirt routers in the game. Number 2 is Steelheart, owned by Michael Looker and bred by the Steward. This 5-year-old stallion was sold for over $10 million as a yearling and is sired by Man of Mystery and is out of the East mare Chocolate. 8 for 16 lifetime with earnings of over $3.5 million to his name. He most recently won the highly regarded stakes at Grade 3 weeks ago as his prep for this race over the Flame Still Burns and Azel, who competed in the Scott Island Memorial Desert Marathon earlier on the card. Before that, he was 4th in the Stewards Cup Classic behind Conqueror, Dragonfly, and Nowitzki, but prior to that, he beat Circle of Life by a neck in the Grade 1 Oceanside Classic. He was 2nd in this race last year, and now he's back, trying to win it for sure this time. Number 3 needs no introduction. This is our Triple Crown winner, Dragonfly. A homebred for Susie Rydell, this 5-year-old stallion is sired by Man of Mystery and is out of the awesome Awake As I Am mare, Amber. 9 for 15 lifetime, $6.5 million to his name. We all know that he won the Derby, the Preakness, the Belmont. He most recently, though, finished 2nd in the Grade 1 Arcadia Million behind John F. Kennedy, who's also in this race, and he was defeated by Conqueror in the Stewards Cup Classic 6 weeks ago. He's trying to come back and trying to regain his top form. I don't even really know. I don't really want to say he regained his top form because he's always been in such good form, but he is back trying to go back and win and just be awesome like he always has again. Can he do it? Trying to become the first Triple Crown winner to win the Desert World Cup here. Number 4 is John F. Kennedy, owned and bred by Carl Smythe. He's sired by Man of Mystery and is out of the Sword mare, Dark Sister. 6 for 12 lifetime with earnings of $1.2 million to his name. He most recently defeated Dragonfly in the Arcadia Million, and before that he won the Grade 1 Sports Jersey Stakes week 2 of this year. He earned a 93 for that effort, beating the Triple Crown winner, and an 87 before that, and this horse has always been good. He competed in the Louisville Derby last year, and he is still here, classy as ever, trying to win this race here today. Number 5 is the reigning champion of the world, Conqueror. Conqueror, a homebred for Cleopatra, sired by Excelsior and is out of the Stay Inside mare Metaphysical. 10 for 12 lifetime. He's only lost twice, and in both of those races he finished 3rd. This guy has earned $5.25 million to his name so far. He is super awesome. He won the Derby in the fastest Derby to ever be run in the sim. He won that last year with a 99 over Nowitzki, who's also in this race today, trying to beat his rival. He also won the Midsummer Classic, the Alexander Derby, the Stewards Cup Classic. So good. He locked up Horse of the Year last year easily with those victories, and he most recently won the Oasis Cup as his 4-year-old debut in preparation for this race today. He's here trying to prove that he is in fact better than Dragonfly, trying to prove that that Stewards Cup Classic win wasn't a fluke. It's going to be a very exciting race today. Number 6 is Nowitzki. Nowitzki, owned and bred by Jake Toward, sired by Keyboard Courage, and is out of the Ice and Fire mare in Neapolitan. 4 for 10 lifetime with earnings of $1.7 million to his name. This guy is looking for a breakout win. He has been so close on several occasions. He's coming off of a win in the Desert Challenge Round 2. He was 3rd in the Stewards Cup Classic, 2nd in the Midsummer Classic. He was 2nd in the Louisville Derby. He was 4th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile. This guy has just been knocking on the door, and he's here. He's trying to prove that he still belongs, trying to prove that he's not just a, the bridesmaid. He's trying to have all the attention be on him today. He is a legitimate threat, and will this be the day he finally takes home all the glory? And number 7, rounding out the field, is Has to Know. He is owned by Bill Outsilver and is bred by the Steward. Sold for just over $350,000 as a yearling. He is sired by the Derby winner Crusader and is out of the Father's Day mare Keep It Secret. 5 for 19 lifetime. Has to Know is coming off of a 4th place finish in the Desert Challenge Round 2, where Nowitzki, Album of the Year, and Hallowed Heart all beat him. Before that, he was 4th in the Japan Trophy Dirt behind Eastern Westside, and in the race before that, the Serious Stakes, he was 2nd behind Eastern Westside again. You have to go all the way back to week 2 of last year when he won the Grade 1 Sports Jersey Stakes over Direwolf to find his last win. But he is still classy as ever, trying to spring the upset here today. And that is the field for this very excellent Desert World Cup.
Thank you, Nini. I love this race. This field is so good. And it took me until this afternoon to realize that there are 3 Louisville Derby winners in this race, and a 4th one is about to be crowned, which means we will have 4 active Louisville Derby winners in training at once, which I'm not sure that that's ever happened before, except for maybe when Heart of the Storm was running, so maybe super recently, but I don't remember, so... I don't know, what do you guys make of Dragonfly? Like, he should be like the big favorite in here, but he lost last out to John F. Kennedy, so is he losing a step? And what about Conqueror? What about Nowitzki knocking on the door? Knocking on the door was 3rd in the Stewards Cup Classic, which Conqueror won. So just class horses all around. Steelheart was 2nd here last year. Only 1 horse in this race, not a millionaire. And all that horse has to do today is finish in the top 5 and he will be a millionaire. So, pretty nice field. Betting pool is going to close at $12,000. I am not impressed with your betting skills. Why is Sten yelling at you? Did I do something gross? Oh, are you yelling Eastern Westside? I figured it out. Okay, it is post time for the $6 million Desert World Cup, going 1.25 miles on the main track. They're off, and Dragonfly stumbled badly at the start. Bad break for Dragonfly. So it is Has to Know who shows speed. John F. Kennedy and now Dragonfly rushed up. Steelheart, Eastern Westside Conqueror, and Nowitzki is the early trailer as they come down past us for the first time. And Dragonfly has taken over the lead and he has rushed along. Dragonfly a length in front. Has to Know is in 2nd, then John F. Kennedy 3rd. Steelheart's there, tracking in 4th, then Eastern Westside on the outside. Conqueror in between horses, and Nowitzki is last in this star-studded field. It is Dragonfly leading them around the clubhouse turn towards the backstretch, and he's leading by 3. Quite quick today is Dragonfly. Has to Know in 2nd, 4 lengths to John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy has 2 in front of Steelheart. 2 is another 2 lengths back to Conqueror with Eastern Westside alongside. Those 2 Derby winners together, and then Nowitzki is still the trailer. But the race shape is changing as they have half a mile left to go. Dragonfly, he leads by 3. Has to Know spits the bit. Here comes John F. Kennedy, the main rival today, and here's Eastern Westside Conqueror. Those 2 are getting involved, as is Nowitzki. Steelheart has dropped out badly. They're at the top of the lane, and Dragonfly is all out to hold off the challengers. Those include Conqueror, John F. Kennedy, and even Eastern Westside getting involved. It is Dragonfly, Conqueror on the outside, Eastern Westside splitting horses, and John F. Kennedy. It is the 3 Derby winners that are kicking clear. Dragonfly on the rail, Conqueror out widest, and Eastern Westside in between them as game as can be, and it's gonna be Eastern Westside to bomb another one today. Eastern Westside wins the World Cup by a neck over Dragonfly, then Conqueror, and John F. Kennedy. The official winner is Eastern Westside. I have never been more shocked about a race result than I was about this one. I was pretty shocked about his Derby, but this is something else. He is a 7-year-old gray gelding by Taste of Shadows out of West by God by Midwest. Nothing pedigree. He's a homebred from Mark Branch, and this is his 15th win in 32 starts, and he now has almost $7 million in earnings. He's pretty much one of the great horses. So next up we shift to Louisville, Kentucky, where we have the Louisville Oaks coming up in 15 minutes-ish. Whatever, take your time, it's fine. It's a full field, and there's even some good horses missing, so to talk about them, here is Nini.
I'm back, and I am super happy that Eastern West Side won that race. That was super awesome. Anyway, we're shifting gears now. Here we are, Louisville Oaks. We got a full field of 14 horses. Post time is in about 11 minutes, so let's get to it. Number 1 is Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs is owned by Carl Smythe and is bred by Art Vandelay. She's sired by Vortex and is out of the Father Ralph mare, the incredible Maryland Million. She's 3 for 5 lifetime with 2 third-place finishes and earnings of $163,500. She wasn't really on the 2-year-old scene, but she stepped out and announced her presence loudly this year when she won the Grade 1 Lexington Oaks by a neck over Someone Like You with a 91 speed figure. She came from off the pace to win that race, and before that, highlight victories included the Babe Ruth Stakes and her maiden special, which she won with a 94. Number 2 is Keep Hidden. Keep Hidden is owned by I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher this name again. Trasevere Peru. This filly was sold for $3.2 million as a yearling and is starred by Spectre out of the Father's Day mare Keep It Secret. 1 for 4 lifetime with $28,000 in earnings so far. She broke her maiden with an 85, but hasn't won since, but she did finish second in the Alberta Oaks 3 weeks ago, and by virtue of that, she is here today. She finished second in that race, She was behind Heart of Flutter, and by virtue, she is here today, looking to spring a big upset. Number 3 is Etude. Etude is owned by Jolene Danner and bred by her as well. She is sired by Easy on the Eyes and is out of the Firefly mare, Semper. 3 for 5 lifetime with earnings of $157,500 to her name. She's coming off of a whopping victory in the Grade 2 Las California Stakes, where she won coming from off the pace with a huge 100 speed figure. She beat Penguin and I See the Light in that race, and they are both here today trying to turn the tables and beat her. Before that, she was 12th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile Fillies, so she rebounded big time to get that major victory, and it definitely puts her on a lot of people's radars today. Number 4 is the aforementioned Heart of Flutter. Heart of Flutter is owned by Allie Hedgestone and is bred by Art Vandelay. She's sired by Heart of the Storm and is out of the Keep Your Promise mare Time Stands Still. She's 3 for 4 lifetime, never worse than second, and has earnings of $174,000 in her career. Last year, she broke her maiden impressively and followed it up with a second-place finish in the Spirituality Stakes, but opted out of the Stewards Cup, instead winning a Grade 2 race in New York as her year-end finale. She won the Alberta Oaks this year, beating Keep Hidden, and she is here today trying to win this big race. Can she do it? Allie Hedgestone would be very happy, very happy, if she did. Number 5 is Time to Let Me Go. Time to Let Me Go is owned and bred by Mike Eaton, and she is sired by Spectre and is out of the Vortex mare, Alyosha. She's 2 for 5 lifetime with 2 second-place finishes to her name and earnings of $51,300 to her career so far. Most recently, she was second in the Worm Stakes behind One Heartbeat, and before that, she won a non-winners of 2 lifetime after finishing 8th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile Fillies. It took her 2 times to break her maiden, so she's a little bit of an outsider here compared to some other huge fillies in here. But as I've always said, anything can happen. Horse racing is very strange. If Eastern West Side can come back and win the Dubai World Cup at age 7, then this filly can win the Louisville Oaks today. But it shall remain to be seen if she does. Number 6 is You're the Sky, owned by Danny Derby and bred by the Steward. She is sired by Tahoe and is out of the War Daddy mare Just One Kiss. She's 2 for 5 lifetime with earnings of just under $160,000 to her name, and most recently, she finished 3rd in the Grade 1 New York Stakes against the boys, and before that, she won the Grade 3 Torrid Night Stakes in a dead heat with Gloriana and defeated Maple Leafs in the process. She was 5th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile Fillies behind that stacked field, and she is here, definitely classy, definitely super good, definitely has a chance to me. Even though she's coming off of that loss, she is still super good and looks to be a threat here today. Number 7 is another Danny Derby horse, this one Speechless, also bred by the Steward. This filly Speechless was sold for a whopping $15.6 million as a yearling and is sired by Hold Above out of the Just Victory mare, Timeless. She's 3 for 5 lifetime, but she has never been worse than third. She has earnings of $195,000 so far. She's coming off of a Grade 1 victory against the boys, and she was actually entered in the Louisville Derby earlier this week. For whatever the reason, Danny Derby opted out of the Louisville Derby and into the Louisville Oaks, probably by virtue of his superstar Blue Bayou in the next race. Before that, she won the Border Oaks, a Grade 3 event, by a neck over striking and earned a 90 speed figure, career best for that effort. She was third in the Louisiana Princess before that, and it took her 2 tries to break her maiden, but ever since then, she's been almost on a roll. Number 8 is Sky Will Burn. Sky Will Burn is a homebred for Erin Sanderson, and she is by You Are Not Alone out of the Through the Ghost Mare Stars Will Dance. 4 for 5 lifetime with earnings of $309,000. She most recently won the Southern California Oaks, a Grade 1 event, by a neck over Dwayne in inner victory. She earned a 90 speed figure for that effort, and before that, she won the Grade 3 Believe You Can Stakes with an 87 speed figure, also over Dwayne, and before that, she wrapped up her 2-year-old campaign with a victory in the Grade 2 Louisiana Princess. This filly is super good and figures to be one of the favorites here today. She is on a 3-race win streak, looking to make it 4. Number 9 is Penguin. Penguin is owned by Laura Ferguson and is bred by the steward. She is sired by Man of Mystery and is out of the Awake As I Am mare All That I Am, which makes her a half-sister to Heart of the Storm. Pretty sure we all remember that guy. She's 1 for 5 lifetime, but has 4 second-place finishes to her name and earnings of over $500,000 to her career. Not bad for a horse with only 1 win. It took her 2 tries to break her maiden, and she did so week 11 of last year, where she led a wire-to-wire and won with a 98 speed figure by 5 lengths. After that, she was second in the Grade 3 stakes, and she was also second in the Stewart's Cup Juvenile Fillies, and after that, she was second again in the Grade 2 Last California Stakes behind Etude, who's also in this race. So this filly is kind of insane. Her last 4 speed figures have been 98, 93, 94, and 100, and for the 93, 94, and 100, she didn't win any of those, and that's insane. Needless to say, she is extremely good, and I think it's just kind of been an unlucky situation, so she is definitely looking to get her signature win here today, and she is definitely talented enough. Will she get there? Number 10 is Storm Heading East. Storm Heading East is owned by Stephen Cleveland and is bred by the steward. This filly was sold for $2 million as a yearling, sired by Easy on the Eyes, and is out of the Maelstrom mare Storm Never Told. She's a maiden still, but she has 2 second-place finishes and 2 third-place finishes. Most recently, she was third in an allowance race behind I Am Girly and Holden. Before that, she was the second in the White Wolf Stakes in her seasonal debut this year, behind Pepper. Before that, she was third behind Welcome to New York and We Belong Awake in the Whitney Stakes. In her final stakes try as a 2-year-old, she's going to have to really rebound and bring her best effort here today and try and pick up that win, trying to become one of, I believe, what would be the first maiden to win the Louisville Oaks. Number 11 is Soulmate. Soulmate, a homebred for Cleopatra, sired by Together, and is out of the Doctor mare, also travels in time. 2 for 4 lifetime with earnings of $114,000. She's coming off of a win in the Albuquerque Park Oaks, a Grade 2 event from 2 weeks ago. She won that race by 2 lengths and earned an 89 speed figure, and before that she was second in the Babe Ruth Stakes behind Maple Leafs and third in the Skyflyer Stakes behind Ziva and You're the Sky, all very familiar names. She's trying to beat those fillies that she's seen before, trying to come in here and get the big one for her owner, Cleopatra. Number 12 is One Heartbeat. One Heartbeat is owned by Susie Rydell and bred by Susie Rydell as well. She's sired by Spectre and is out of the other man mare, Rose, who I'm sure a lot of us are very, very familiar with, which makes her a half-sister to Preakness winner Alonzi. She's 2 for 4 lifetime, but has never been worse than second. She has earnings of just under $180,000 to her name. She's coming into this off of back-to-back wins, the first in her maiden, which is really surprising considering that she hadn't broken her maiden until earlier this year. And after that, she won the Warm Stakes, a Grade 2 event, by a nose over Time to Let Me Go and Dramatizing. This filly, super good. Trying to get the win here today. Kind of reminds me of Dragonfly in that hasn't really, in the sense that Dragonfly took a long time to kind of get with the program and win, and then after that he won the Derby. Can this filly repeat a kind of similar pattern for the same owner? Number 13 is I See the Light, a homebred for Rebecca Rose Hepburn. This chestnut filly is sired by Heart of the Storm and is out of the fantastic Maelstrom mare Wish Upon a Star. She's 2 for 4 lifetime with 1 third place finish to her name and has earned $58,500. She's coming off of a third place finish in that crazy last California Stakes. She earned a 100 speed figure for that, even though she was third behind Etude and Penguin, so that race was just absolutely ridiculous. Before that, she finished 9th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile Fillies. And before that, she won the Grade 3 Spirituality Stakes and a main special weight before that. So if you just cross out that Stewards Cup Juvenile Fillies, then she would be perfect. And she is almost perfect. But overall, this filly, super good, ran into some crazy, crazy horses last time. We'll see if that 100 is going to make her and the other horses from that field bounce. Last but not least is Letting Me Be Myself. She's a homebred for the godfather of the sim, John Exet, sired by Tahoe and is out of the Easy to Be Myself mare Jam Band Jazz. 2 for 4 lifetime with a second place finish and a third place finish with earnings of $44,000 to her name. She comes off of a third place finish in the Grade 2 Gontran Stakes behind Welcome to New York, who's not in this race. And before that, she won an allowance race by a length over Waiting on Time. The obvious filly missing here is Ziva, but we'll see if those fillies that finished behind her in the juvenile can show that she belonged in the Derby. We will see what happens. This is an awesome race. Here's the Steward.
Absolutely an awesome race. Very excited about this one, but the Oaks is always good. The funny thing is this, like, kind of gauge from the Oaks, the horses that finish like 5th and worse, which one of those is going to win the Long Island Acorn, the prestigious 1.5-mile race that comes up after this one, because this division just gets so tough this time of year. And I give kudos to everyone who decided to show up. Oh, excuse me, I'm too tired for this. I'm definitely going to be able to stay up till midnight. Pfft, not. Betting pool... Nope, I just made this Triple Crown Trail race again. What did I say about needing a button? Betting pool closes at $20,400. $20,000 on the Oaks. What? Come on. A full field of 14. Going 1 1/8 miles. And here we go. They're off in the 48th Louisville Oaks, and it was a good start for all but You're the Sky, who stumbled badly, but the rest were away well. Heart a Flutter shows speed, and Penguin joins that one, then Soulmate, One Heartbeat, and Speechless. Time to Let Me Go, Today, You're the Sky, and Keep Hidden, then Sky Will Burn, Letting Me Be Myself, Maple Leafs, I See the Light is well back early, and Storm Heading East is the early trailer. So it is Heart a Flutter leading them around the clubhouse turn to the backstretch. Penguin's pressing that one, then comes Soulmate. One Heartbeat is 4th, 3 lengths ahead of Speechless. They're stringing out with Speechless 5 in front of it today. Sky Will Burn is 7th, and then Time to Let Me Go, You're the Sky, Keep Hidden, Letting Me Be Myself, Maple Leafs, I See the Light, and Storm Heading East is the trailer. They're about 8 lengths front to back with Heart a Flutter leading, but here's Penguin right alongside, and those two kick on from Soulmate, One Heartbeat, Sky Will Burn, and Today. You're the Sky, Speechless, and Maple Leafs is getting it going. Time to Let Me Go, I See the Light is asked, and Keep Hidden. They're at the top of the stretch, and Heart a Flutter is trying to chase away Penguin, but Penguin is right alongside, and those two are trying to stay clear of Today now. Sky Will Burn closing, and You're the Sky, Soulmate, and One Heartbeat, but it's a battle up front between Penguin and Heart a Flutter. Today closing as fast as she can. It is going to be 3 horses to the line. Heart a Flutter, Penguin, and Today. It is a photo in the Oaks between those 3, with Sky Will Burn 4th, You're the Sky, and Soulmate was 6th. The official winner of the Louisville Oaks was Penguin. She's a 3-year-old black filly by Man of Mystery out of All That I Am by Awake As I Am. She is owned by Laura Ferguson and was bred by the Steward. This is only her 2nd win in 6 starts, but she has lots of seconds. 2nd place was Heart a Flutter. Today was 3rd. Then Sky Will Burn, You're the Sky, Soulmate, One Heartbeat, Maple Leafs, I See the Light, Speechless, Time to Let Me Go, Keep Hidden, Letting Me Be Myself, and Storm Heading East. Next up, we have the final race on the day, and this is the big one. Only 15 horses in the Derby this year. So here is Nini.
So, if Penguin just won the Louisville Oaks, and if Ziva, who's running in the Louisville Derby, beat her last year in the Stewards Cup Juvenile Fillies, that gives you something to ponder about. Anyway, we're here. It's the big one, the biggest race of the year, at least in my opinion, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me. It's the Louisville Derby, $2 million on the line here. Not a full field, which is a kind of a rare thing. We have 15 horses, and I can't recall a Derby with that few horses, at least in my recent memory. But what this race lacks in actual physical horses, it makes up for in absolute talent and storyline. There are so many storylines we have here. I think we have several horses from the Art Vandelay lease. Wouldn't it make someone's day if someone won with one of those? We also have that whole Prince Louder Blue Bayou rematch. We have the storyline with Ziva, the juvenile fillies winner, versus Prince Louder, the juvenile winner. We have Gladiator, who's kind of a new face because he didn't run in the Stewards Cup Juvenile. This race is just so good. I'm so excited to see who's going to win. Oh my goodness, and that is right. And we also have Thunder Run breaking from the outside. He's undefeated. He's so good. Is Andrew James going to get his Derby win here? I'm so excited to see who's going to win this. Let's jump to it. Breaking from the rail is Tarasenko. Tarasenko is owned by Izzy Rafferty and is bred by Art Vandelay. This colt is by Derby winner Tahoe and out of Derby winner Skyfall. He's 3 for 5 lifetime with earnings of $463,400 to his name. Most recently, he won the Grade 1 Kentucky Blue Stakes. And before that, he also won the Grade 2 Fountain of Gold Stakes. He beat Quo Vadimus in his most recent prep, which he won by a length and a quarter with an 89 speed figure. He was third in the Stewards Cup Juvenile behind the aforementioned Prince Louder and Blue Bayou. He's coming in here today trying to stamp himself. He has the rail to overcome, but with this Derby, there's only 15 horses. May not be as big of a deal as it's been in the past, but still an obstacle to overcome. Number 2 was the phenomenally bred, just as equally phenomenally bred as the one horse, Quo Vadimus, a homebred for Susie Rydell. This dark bay colt is sired by Doctor and is out of the Awake as I Am Amber. 2 for 4 lifetime with earnings of just under $300,000 to his name. He comes off of that second place finish to Tarasenko in the Kentucky Blue. And before that, he was third in the Grade 3 Tremendous Stakes behind Creeping Suspicion and the Upside Down. He won both of his races that he entered as a juvenile, but he lost both of his races here. So he hasn't been as consistent this year as he was last year. Maybe it's just because he's run into some very tough competition, but he's here trying to prove that those 2-year-old wins were no fluke, and he's been flying a bit under the radar, so we'll see what he can do here in this race. Number 3 is the one and only Prince Louder. Owned by Aaron Sanderson and bred by Art Vandelay, here is your Stewards Cup Juvenile winner, undefeated, 4 for 4 by Hold Above, and is out of the Harry Potter mare Enchanted Tiki Room. He has earnings of over $1 million, and based on his resume, I would have to say that this is your definite favorite in this race. Of course, we all know how he broke his main with a 100 and followed it up with a 100 speed figure and then followed it up with another 100 speed figure in the California Chrome Stakes. After that, he met up with Blue Bayou in the Juvenile. Everyone thought he was going to bounce, and then he was like, I don't know what bounce means, and he won that race by 3 1/4 lengths. By 3/4 of a length, wire to wire with a 98 speed figure, so clearly this horse just has no idea what a bounce means. After that, he won the Grade 2 Alpha Stakes Week 3 with a 90 as his lone prep. A little bit of a breather off of that incredible 2-year-old campaign. This guy is definitely your favorite. We'll see if he can win this and live up to all of the hype. Number 4 is Rockets. Rockets, a homebred for Eric Nalbone, sired by Easy on the Eyes, and is out of the Just Victory mare Aspirational. 2 for 5 lifetime with 2 second place finishes and 1 off the board finish. He has earnings of $210,000 to his name. Most recently, he was second in the Southern California Derby, a Grade 1, 2 lengths behind Walking Stick. Before that, he beat Walking Stick in the Grade 2 Pacific Coast Highway Stakes, earning a 91 for that effort. This guy was 5th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile, and before that, he won the Persevere before breaking his maiden before that. This guy also flying a little bit under the radar, but who can blame us with all of these fantastic horses? This guy is still fantastic, coming in here trying to prove that it's not all about the Prince Louders and the Blue Bayous and the Thunder Runs of the world, and you can't ever count out Eric Nalbone in a Derby race. I'm sure this guy is going to make some noise. And number 5 is Blue Bayou. Blue Bayou is a homebred for Danny Derby. He's sired by Harry Potter and is out of the Father Ralph mare Let It Go. 3 for 4 lifetime, earnings of over $500,000 to his name so far. This guy broke his maiden with a 100 speed figure, then he won the Cape Stakes. I thought he was going to win the Stewards Cup Juvenile because I thought Prince Lauder would bounce. We all know how that story went. He finished second in that race by 3/4 of a length. After that, he came back this year, winning the Battle Cry Stakes in his lone Derby prep with a big 95. He won that by 3 lengths over Spooky Music. We'll see if that one race was enough to prep him for this. By virtue of that incredible juvenile campaign as well, he probably only needed one prep. I think the 95, personally, was a really good speed figure to run. Sharp race, but he still had 3 weeks to recover after that. And Danny Derby is also looking for his first Derby win, trying to put the Derby in Danny Derby. And I know he thinks Blue Bayou is the best horse he has ever brought to the Derby. I know for sure that he thinks if he wins, it's going to be with this horse. Can he do it? We will see. Number 6 is Heat of the Moment. Heat of the Moment, owned by Alex Puderbaugh and bred by the Steward, sold for $4.4 million as a yearling. He's sired by Heart of the Storm and is out of the War Daddy mare Sleep to Dream. 3 for 5 lifetime with 1 third-place finish and $143,000 to his name. He's coming off of a third-place finish in the Kentucky Blue Stakes behind Tarasenko and Quo Vadimus. Before that, he won the Grade 3 R Lions Real Stakes in Week 1 by 3/4 of a length over As You Bleed. This guy flew under the radar as a juvenile, but he's here in full force today, and he's finally trying to look to see if we can add his name to that long list of great Derby winners. This guy is super good. He has the pedigree to do it. He's by a Derby winner. Sleep to Dream is an awesome broodmare. If he's got the family, he definitely is classy enough to win here, but we will see how he measures against these superb, fantastic horses he's up against today. Number 7 is Walking Stick. He's owned by Abe Froman and is bred by the Steward. Sold for $5.8 million as a yearling. He is by Be Prepared out of the awesome East Mare Chocolate. 3 for 5 lifetime with 1 second place finish to his name. He has $240,500 to his name. He broke his maiden expertly with a 90, and then he won the Persevere, but he finished a really strange 9th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile. That was very out of character for him, but he came back and rebounded nicely, finishing 2nd to Rockets in the Pacific Coast Highway Stakes. He needed to shake off that bad loss in the Stewards Cup. But most recently, in Week 4, 2 weeks ago, he won the Grade 1 Southern California Derby over Rockets, getting his revenge. He looks for the ultimate big prize today. This is one of the optimal pedigrees for 1 1/4 in my opinion. This guy is super good. Abe Froman looking for that elusive Derby. He's been around. He's won so many races, but he hasn't won the Derby. He's looking for that big win today from Walking Stick. Number 8 is Lion R. Graves. Lion R. Graves, a homebred for John Exet. He's sired by Doctor out of the Other Man mare Reprehensible. 1 for 4 lifetime with 2 seconds and 1/3. He's earned $88,500 to his name so far. He's coming off of a 2nd place finish in the Grade 2 Buccaneer Derby behind Thunder Run, who breaks from the outside, one of the other undefeated horses. He lost and finished 2nd by 2.5 lengths in that race, but still earned an 80 speed figure. Before that, he was 2nd in the End Result Stakes, also behind Thunder Run. And prior to that, he was 3rd in his 2-year-old finale, the Buckingham Stakes behind St. Nicholas Day and Bluebird Returning. This guy, he is a bit of a long shot. He's coming in here off of a 79 and an 80. A lot of the other horses are coming off of monster performances with higher speed figures, but I think we all know better than to count out John Exet, and I'm not going to make that mistake here. And even though on paper this horse has to be one of the longer shots in the field, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's be honest, nobody is going to be surprised with John Exet. Next up is number 9, Outer Space. Outer Space is owned by Mike Eaton and bred by the Steward. He was sold for $2 million as a 2-year-old. He's sired by Excelsior and is out of the Harry Potter mare Great Stories. 3 for 6 lifetime with earnings of $148,500. Most recently, he was 4th in the Kentucky Blue Stakes behind Tarasenko, Quo Vadimus, and Heat of the Moment. Before that, he won the Grade 3 Texan Derby over Quick Draw McGraw, love that name, and Milo. He earned an 84 for that Texan Derby win and only managed a 77 against Tarasenko, Quo Vadimus, and Heat of the Moment. Before that, he was 7th in the Stewards Cup Juvenile and 2nd in the Bubbly Stakes. He's going to have to step it up a little bit if he wants to be competitive here today, but it is the Derby and anything can happen. Number 10 is the filly, Ziva. She is a homebred for Eric Nalbone, and she is sired by Rambling and is out of the Awake As I Am mare, Corona. She's undefeated, 5 for 5 lifetime. She has earnings of $1.2 million to her name. We know this girl. She won the Stewards Cup Juvenile Fillies impressively. She came from way off the pace to win that race. She nailed Penguin on the line. Penguin just won the Louisville Oaks. That definitely makes Ziva look good. It flatters her. We'll see if she can win this against the boys. She did win her prep 2 weeks ago against the Colts in the New Orleans Derby, where she beat Ruler Exaggerates and His Kiss from Mine. She won that with an 88, and prior to that, she won the Silver Bullet Stakes 2 weeks before that with a 90 speed figure, where she beat 2 Years Gone and Warning Tide. However, it begs to be seen if that 88 speed figure in the New Orleans Derby was enough to make her sharp enough for this race. That's a little bit of a lower speed figure than a lot of these other colts are coming in off of. We'll see. I think she's good enough. I think she's super good. She definitely is fast enough. Her highest speed figure to date is a 99, but we'll see how that form cycle is going and if she can become another great, great filly to win the Louisville Derby. Number 11 is Creeping Suspicion, the other John Exet horse. This horse is a homebred for John Exet and is sired by Together out of the Triumph mare, Zoe Termere. 3 for 5 lifetime with earnings of $290,000 to her name. This filly's never finished worse than third. She's coming off... Pardon me. I can't believe I said filly. Okay. Well, this guy is coming off of a second place finish in the New York Stakes to St. Nicholas Day, who is not here. Before that, he won the Grade 3 Tremendous Stakes over the Upside Down and Quo Vadimus. This guy did win his 2-year-old finale in the Louisville Jockey Club Stakes. He won that over Quick Draw McGraw, and before that, he finished third behind Prince Louder and Tarasenko, two very familiar names. This guy is very good. He's trying to come in here, trying to spring the mild upset here. We'll see if he can do it. Number 12 is Bluebird Returning. Bluebird Returning is a homebred for Nina Olson. The black colt is sired by Harry Potter and out of the Stay Inside mare, Know You'll Stay. 4 for 5 lifetime, has only lost once, and that one loss was a second place finish. He's earned $278,000 to his name so far. This horse likes to gun to the lead and make a run for it, and that's just what he did in the Keyboard Courage Stakes, where he ran away to win by 2 3/4 lengths 2 weeks ago in Kentucky on a sloppy racetrack, just like he'll have today. He won that race over Quick Draw McGraw and Necerius, and before that he beat the New York Stakes winner in St. Nicholas Day by a length in the Grade 3 Rising Star Stakes. This guy is super good. His only loss was to St. Nicholas Day, week 14 of last year. His highest speed figure to date has been a 91. He is really good. He's still going to have to step it up a notch to run with these other horses today, but he is going to improve. I'm confident in that. He is very, very good, and we'll see if he can give Nina Olson her first Derby victory. Number 13 is Gladiator. Gladiator is a homebred for Chris Bobby, sired by Rambling and out of the fantastic race mare Agent Keen. 5 for 5 lifetime, undefeated, with earnings of just over $400,000 to his name. This guy is insane and took the more conservative route by not running in the Stewards Cup Juvenile. This race was the goal all along for this guy, and skipping the Juvenile to run in the Derby has been a very effective formula all the way, so we'll see how he does off of that. Most recently, he won the Grade 1 Sunshine Park Derby 3 weeks ago by 4 lengths with an awesome 94 speed figure. He beat Frost in that race and Roman Legacy. Before that, he won the Grade 3 Giacomo Stakes by 3 3/4 lengths, earning a 96 speed figure over Animus. Prior to that, he won the Louisiana Jackpot in his 2-year-old finale with a 90 over Daddy Dreams, and before that, he won the Thriller Stakes, a Grade 3, and a main special rate race. He did beat the Upside Down by 5.5 lengths in his maiden, and he won that with a 100 speed figure. Number 14 is Zero. Zero is owned by Cleopatra and bred by Art Vandelay. He's sired by Heart of the Storm and is out of the Stewards Cup Distaff winning mare CN Tower. 3 for 5 lifetime with 2 second place finishes to his name. He's earned $215,000 in his career so far. Most recently, he finished second in the Grade 2 Albuquerque Park Derby behind Canadian Ghost and was in front of Crusoe in that race. Before that, he won the Grade 3 Border Derby over Favored Ending, and in his 2-year-old finale, he was second behind Thunder Run, one of the other undefeated horses in this race. This guy is really good. His highest speed figure to date has been a 99, but he's kind of been knocking on the door, hasn't been running with some of the greatest competition in the world, but he's clearly very talented, has the pedigree to perform, has the connections. He's very, very good. We'll see if he can make some noise here today. And finally, we round out the field with Thunder Run. Thunder Run, the last undefeated horse in this race. He's owned by Andrew James and bred by Art Vandelay. He's sired by After the Disco and is out of the Whirlpool mare I Whirl and Dance. 5-for-5 lifetime with earnings of $362,500. He won the Buccaneer Derby Week 3 in his most recent race over Lionel Graves and Sinister Eyes. Before that, he won the End Result Stakes, a Grade 3 event, beating Lionel Graves again, and prior to that, he defeated the likes of Zero in the Inglewood Futurity. He is super good. Andrew James never won a Derby. I know it would absolutely make his day if this happened. It'd make anybody's day if they got a Louisville Derby winner, let's be honest. But with this horse, it would be amazing. He is so good. There are so many good horses in this race. It's so ridiculous. I can't wait to see who wins. And with that, it's almost post time. Here is the Steward.
I'm so excited. Just can't hide it. Yeah, that's as much entertainment as you're getting out of me today, kids. It is post time for the 48th Louisville Derby. Can you guys even imagine that it's almost the 50th one? You guys should all be trying to breed the 50th Derby winner. That's what you guys should be doing right now, because that makes sense, right? Nope, those are yearlings. I lied. You can't be doing that. You must have already done it. You know what I meant. All right. The betting pool closes at $117,700. Apparently, threats work, guys. Threats work. And because Emily needs a button, I almost just unmade that a Triple Crown Trail race, and no one would have gotten points for this. That'd be unfortunate. All right. This is a good field. There's a whole bunch of Art Vandelay in this race. We don't even have Art Vandelay, who no longer plays, or Danny Derby listening in, and no Chris Bobby listening in. So, let's root for someone else, I guess. Oh, did Danny show up? Oh, good boy, Danny. He told me he couldn't show up. I got sad messages from pretty much half the field saying they couldn't be here. All right, I'll start talking. It's time for the race. It would help if I'd find the chart. They're off in the 48th Louisville Derby, and it was a perfect start for all 15 runners. Quo Vadimus shows speed right out of the gate and is joined by Bluebird returning and Thunder Run from the outside angled in, then Gladiator. Prince Louder is taken back, Heat of the Moment in Blue Bayou, then Zero, Lionel Graves, Ziva, Rockets, Tarasenko, Outer Space, Creeping Suspicion, and Walking Stick is the early trailer of the 15 as they come under the wire the first time, and it is Quo Vadimus leading by a length. Bluebird returning and Thunder Run are stalking that one, Gladiator there too. Prince Louder tucked in behind them, and then Heat of the Moment, Blue Bayou, Zero, Lionel Graves, and Ziva. Rockets, her stablemate, is there too, then Tarasenko, Outer Space, Creeping Suspicion, and Walking Stick is still the trailer as they go down the backstretch, and the pace is solid, led by Quo Vadimus by a length. Bluebird returning is in second, has 2 lengths on Gladiator, who shook clear in third, with Prince Louder fourth. Thunder Run back into fifth. Then comes Heat of the Moment, Blue Bayou in steady position seventh. Tarasenko has moved up a bit. Zero, Lionel Graves, Ziva, Rockets, Creeping Suspicion, Outer Space, and Walking Stick. Now they're coming to the half-mile pole in the Louisville Derby, and it is a new leader, and that leader is Thunder Run, who has rolled past horses to take over. Thunder Run on the lead by a neck. Gladiator is in second. Quo Vadimus has dropped out fast. Prince Louder up there. Bluebird returning there too. Here comes Blue Bayou and Tarasenko. Zero and Ziva is coming on. They're at the top of the stretch and coming to the wire. It is Thunder Run leading. Gladiator there too. Blue Bayou getting involved now between horses and Prince Louder. Those two again. Thunder Run, Prince Louder, Blue Bayou, and Gladiator. Tarasenko is fifth, then Zero. It is Prince Louder shaking clear. Nope, Blue Bayou comes back at him. Gladiator, Thunder Run, 4 across the track, and it's gonna be Blue Bayou by a neck under the line with Prince Louder second, Gladiator third, Thunder Run, Tarasenko, Zero, Ziva, Quo Vadimus, and Bluebird returning. The official winner of the Derby is Blue Bayou. He's a 3-year-old gray colt by Harry Potter out of Let It Go by Father Ralph. He is a homebred for Danny Derby, and this is his 4th win in 5 starts. Second beaten a neck was his arch rival Prince Louder, with Gladiator only a head back third. Thunder Run was their fourth, and Tarasenko missed the win by only 2 lengths. So they were pretty good. Please join us next Friday. I hope to be there. I'm taking a plane next Friday, which I didn't think of until like 2 days ago. But I hope to be landed and have internet before it's time for the calling of the Louisville Preakness, the Baltimore Crown. That's the one, where I'm sure we will have yet another rematch between Blue Bayou and Prince Louder. And now I have a date with Chris Martin. Great job tonight, Nini. And I will see you all back again 7 days from now.